all right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. It is Monday. Today, Treasury Secretary Bessent says economic D-Day is coming for Iran. Most indices are down. The Nasdaq is down. The S&P is down. But also on the other way, oil is actually down a little bit. It's down to $85 a barrel here. Now, this is a crazy busy week. We have the Kevin Warsh Economic Symposium, the Jackson Hill Symposium. We have Nvidia earnings Wednesday. We have GDP and PCE inflation also on Wednesday. And then today we have Bessent with the update to the Iran news. Bessent said, quote, "At dawn begins an economic D-Day, the single greatest financial offensive ever marshaled against an adversary. Those who sever Iran's remaining financial and commercial connectivity will reinvigorate their own. They will deepen their access to global capital, reinforce confidence in their markets, and attain their standing they seek in the world economy. The alternative for those who tether themselves to Tehran is the foreclosure of any path to lasting prosperity." Now, that's supposed to happen at 2 p.m., I believe. I believe it's at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, and we will see what that looks like. But yeah, it's a pretty busy day. UKMTO has received a report of an incident in Yanbu, Saudi Arabia. A tanker was struck by an unknown projectile. And Pakistani sources say Pakistan's army chief spoke with U.S. president ahead of the visit to Tehran, and more. Nvidia had earnings overnight as well. That Nvidia specifically is planning to use a $6 billion deal it struck this week to build one of the world's most powerful open weight AI models, according to the Wall Street Journal. This is the competition plan to compete with DeepSeek and Kimi K3. We had news about Alibaba coming out overnight, where Burry, I believe he said he's getting out of Alibaba. You can look at Alibaba here and see Alibaba is actually down a little bit today, gapping down some. So I believe Burry is getting out of Alibaba. I believe that was the news, rotating out of it. Markets are bracing for Nvidia earnings on Wednesday, which is really the main event of this week if it's not Jackson Hole Symposium. But if we look at gold here, gold is actually up today. It's up to $4,700 an ounce. I almost said a barrel. $4,700 an ounce. Again, the Nasdaq, the S&P both down today. The Kospi index dropped 3.5% overnight. Samsung is down even though it had good news on Friday, and more. So it's an interesting day this morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. Bitcoin still sitting almost at 78,000 this morning, almost at 78K for Bitcoin. And yeah, we're down overnight. We're down over the weekend. We are down today, and indices are mostly down. Again, Nasdaq down at 29,181. But hello, chat. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good this morning. Let's say hey to everybody here. What's up? Pizza, Joe, Ava, Zeke, Jonathan, Killing Frenzy, Edson, Old Hack, Steve, Bromax, Ox, Good News, Dave Down Under, Crypto Coffee, Shake and Bake, Six, Rooftop, VA, Max, Pew, SPG, Rambling, Sabars, Glass Half Full, UE, Matthew, Gob, Ashun, Slumdog, I think I said Steve already, Shadow, Visual, Bam Bam, SHN, Wolf, Ryan, Yellow, K, J Violet, hello, SC, Todd, Dragon's Daddy. What's up, man? What's going on with memory stocks? Memory is down. You know, they were down overnight. The Kospi index was down. SK Hynix is down. SanDisk is down. So memory plays are down again overnight. That's one of the reasons markets are dropping. And also, markets are not necessarily interpreting this Nvidia news as good news. It's down at 213. So people are still worried about spending fears and more regarding Nvidia. And yeah, what's up, SC? Good morning. Should be an interesting market open. Yes, it should. What's up, empty guests? Electic, Anti, Todd, Sam, Ty, Alexander, Palantirs, Betamax, STT, Franklin, Pablo. Why are the markets red again? It's a mix of memory fears. Nvidia's down, Alibaba's down, and more. And so, yeah, that's part of it. And yeah, I mean, I think markets are also, they're bracing for two specific things today. We have Bessent, supposed to talk about the economic isolation plan with Iran. We talked about this a minute ago. I think markets are kind of bracing for that. I think a lot of this, honestly, though, is, I mean, Nvidia is down and chips are down. So this is mostly chip-related drops, I believe, today. SK Hynix, MU, SanDisk down. Kospi was down overnight. And so I think memory is down, and people are just getting more nervous in that regard. So yeah, the big investment, or the big short investor, Michael Burry, made two major moves that dropped markets. Number one, he dumped Alibaba entirely. He sold off his entire Alibaba position. He originally built about a 6% position in April of 2026. He said it was an attractive entry point at the time. Now, apparently, he is completely out. He rotated all of his Alibaba capital into JD.com. He called it one of his 3 best positions, substantially larger stake than before. JD.com fell anyway, I believe, today based off of the China market, but you can see JD.com down. But yeah, his full quote from yesterday was, quote, "I moved my entire Alibaba position into JD not too long ago. This greatly increased my JD position. I plan to move most of it back after a month or two, no longer. I plan to move most of it back after a month or two." Thank you for the subscribe, Craig. I appreciate it. He said Alibaba's share price would have to fall by half for me to get interested again. He said, "I will not flip any of that back to Alibaba, as issuing shares is now its new paradigm." He said Alibaba's return on invested capital will continue to fall as a result of the share issuance. And he said Alibaba is, quote, "making serious inroads in the low-cost AI model race in the US, calling it impressive as a disruptive force." So it's not Alibaba is bad. He just thinks it's overvalued in diluting shareholders, is what we see for Burry this morning. Yeah, the dollar, we can take a look at the dollar, and then we can take a look at yields. Here's the dollar. The dollar is up a little bit today, so I'm assuming yields are higher here. I got in late last night, and so, you know, I wasn't able to get up as early and check yields and everything like that this morning. Why aren't yields not showing up on my charts here, bro? There they go. Yeah, yields up to 4.2%. Are yields closed today? I don't know. We still got a lot of yield fears in markets. Last week, we had the buyback being doubled by the U.S. Treasury for long-dated bonds. This dumped yields down, obviously, if you paid attention to it. Here's like the 10-year chart. This dumped yields back down yesterday or last week, but then they did rebound all the way back up here, and this is heading into Kevin Warsh on Friday. So we have data on Kevin Warsh on Friday. Nothing happened. I mean, Nvidia moved a little bit. It dropped. It started to rebound back up though. Here's Nvidia. So you can see it did drop some this morning, down to 212s. It's still not looking good though. I mean, it was at 230s, 220s back on the 17th a couple weeks ago. Now it is down to 214. So it's given back some of these gains it made. What's up, Brad? Burry lost money on Alibaba. What's up, G-Man? Is what Bessent said more escalation? I don't know, because oil is not... One of the interesting things about this morning is that oil is down slightly overnight. You can kind of see oil here. This is WTI crude. It's down to 85.40s. 85.40s. Hey, thank you, Sam. It dropped a whole $1. Yeah, I mean, it's down. When the U.S. buys back bonds, it loosens financial conditions, weaken the dollar, and boosts risk appetite, all of which have historically helped Bitcoin rise. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin wants easing and bringing yields down. This is kind of seen as stealth QE is what this is. Like, it's seen as kind of a somewhat version of stealth QE. It's not quite like quantitative easing would be if the Fed did this and expanded their balance sheet and you know, basically print it. This is a little bit different. They're not quite doing the same thing regarding the Treasury announcement, but one of the net effects is that markets that want easing are gonna celebrate from it, like Bitcoin and gold. Gold is really interesting today. Again, gold is all the way up to 4,700s right now this morning. So And again, we do have Bessent. Believe Bessent's at 1. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Bessent is speaking at 1 o'clock today. Any way to confirm Nvidia earnings this Wednesday? Yeah, I mean, Nvidia earnings are Wednesday. Unless I just got this really wrong. Nvidia earnings are absolutely Wednesday. They are August 26th, Wednesday, after market closes. So yeah, that's the big main event leading into this week. I mean, we got a lot of stuff towards the end of this week. The first half of the week is a little bit slow. We don't really have data coming out today or tomorrow. But today we do have Bessent. So today's pretty quiet, but we do have Bessent, going to speak. Is it 12? He's on at 2. Yeah, I hear 2 and then I hear nude. I'll have to go back and check to make sure I'm right. Did y'all hear it was at 12 or 2? I heard it was at 2, but I might be wrong. Yeah, Nvidia earnings is really, I mean, even Burry, I believe Burry even said something about Nvidia earnings. Regarding, he thought Nvidia was going to kill it for earnings. Let me see exactly what he said. But I believe he said something optimistic, believe it or not. Even though he's shorting Nvidia, he's in Nvidia short, he's in MU short, he's in a bunch of chip-related, AI-related stocks short. But I believe he even said he thinks they're going to beat regarding Nvidia earnings. But yeah, going back to it again, Bessent said this. You gotta look at what Bessent is saying regarding this. And what's interesting is that oil's actually down, but Bessent getting ready to shake things up today, maybe with his speech. Let me find exactly. We also have the benchmark revision. Bessent also wrote a hawkish Financial Times piece. He said, while Iran returned the language, noting not a single drop of oil would leave the Persian Gulf. Oil's still not necessarily convinced, though, because, again, it is down on the day, which is interesting. Yeah, again, Burry dropped an Nvidia prediction early this morning, 4 hours ago. He said they will be lights out and accompanied, regarding Nvidia, he's talking about Nvidia, he said they will be lights out and accompanied by the kind of hype that tells you FOMO has almost all the people that would buy it already in. So it wasn't really positive, but he thinks they're going to be good earnings for Nvidia today, or Wednesday. So he wasn't really positive. He used it to sell more of the overspending narrative in AI. But he said they will be lights out and accompanied by the kind of hype that tells you FOMO has almost all the people that would buy it already in it. So he essentially said he thinks a blowout quarter is coming, but hype confirms FOMO exhaustion. He said roughly 100%. On Substack, he said roughly 100% of chip makers' announced revenue is circular. So, and again, we did have Nvidia news this morning that they're doing a deal with Poolside to create a competitor for China AI. And that is probably one of the reasons Nvidia's down. He said, I stand by my analysis. I am not claiming Nvidia is Enron. It is clearly Cisco, he says. Cisco was one of the .com poster childs. Peaked in March 2000, fell 89% by 2002, never recovered to those highs. 20 years later, still below that peak, right? So he is saying it's more correlated with Cisco regarding Nvidia here. Just to look at the history of that, we put a weekly chart up. Here's 2000s, I mean, we've recovered past it, but here's 2000 Cisco run. Right in 2000, Cisco hit 80 plus a share, but it took 20 years or longer, really, to get back to where it was. It did not break over those highs until 2026. So really, it took 26 years for Cisco to get back up to that .com bubble, highs. Finally did break it, but yeah, he's correlating it with, he's comparing it to Cisco more than anything. 2 weeks ago, he also said $500 billion AI infrastructure financing deal is a, quote, Wall Street gimmick reminiscent of Enron regarding Nvidia's $500 billion AI spending plan. He compared it to Enron's balance sheet accounting, called it a gimmick, strengthened his short position. And so, yeah, I mean, I think even with this news, Nvidia is going to be even more heavily watched for its earnings report. You know, I think obviously Nvidia earnings are kind of the main event of earnings anyway, and this is just going to make it bigger. Yeah, appreciate the sub, Craig. Nvidia's the circle, Bessent's the new market maker. Yeah, I see the speech is supposed to be at 1900 BSD. Somebody tell me what time it is. I gotta look this up now. Yeah, it's supposed to be 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 o'clock Central. Or wait. Yeah, so it's going to be 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when Bessent's supposed to speak. That I'm seeing here. I'm showing it's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens today, but that's one of the interesting things going on. We also had some earnings today. China reportedly willing to strengthen cooperation with the U.S. and properly manage differences, according to reports. It says U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent could tap near $1 trillion, the near $1 trillion Treasury general account to fund buybacks in bonds, according to sources cited by CNBC. Bitcoin's ready to pump. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is still up there. You know, I mean, the Treasury news last week, look at Bitcoin running right now. Bitcoin up to 78.3, basically, 78.3,000. And this has gone up pretty significantly from the last time I looked at it 5 minutes ago. So it was at 77.8s, it's now at 78.3s. And Bitcoin continues to rise. Look at this run. It's a really interesting day, honestly. This is probably because of the news that Treasury official told CNBC, the news we just covered, that Treasury could use general account to fund buyback. It's about $1 trillion account. So again, Bessent could tap nearly the near $1 trillion Treasury general account to fund bond buybacks, according to sources. I'll put this data up on screen, but this is probably what's making markets optimistic. Is gold. Yeah, gold's bouncing simultaneously on this news. Same thing, gold up to 4,700s. That's the news right there. Here, I'll put it up in chat. I'll put it up on screen right now because that's probably what people want to see. But I think this is making markets jump up. Burry is desperate to be right again. Is Burry correct, chat? What do you guys think? Is he correct? Is this Paul Felder's channel? Dude, leave me alone, bro. I was out late last night, dude. I'm trying. All right, I went to a concert last night, and I was out late. All right. Leave me alone. If I look like Paul Felder, you know, hopefully I fight like Paul Felder, which I don't. You know. Gold started to run up, but is Burry correct? Again, Bessent could tap the near $1 trillion Treasury general account to fund bond buybacks, according to sources. Are yields falling on this news? Are they falling? Let's see. More potential easing coming. Bro, I don't know why it's not letting me look at bonds today. Am I missing something? Like, are bonds closed today? Or maybe the... Yeah, hold on. Yeah, maybe they're just not open yet. And I'm dumb. Maybe that's it. Just kidding, brother. It's all good, dude. Oh, it's all good. Big sell orders at 80 to 82,000. So now the U.S. is going to buy bonds. What's up, digital? No, they are down. I would assume they'd be down on this news of more potential easing. Look at gold continue to run up here. Look at dollar. You know what's weird? I got less than 7 hours of sleep last night for sure, but I didn't wake up and go back to sleep. And I feel fine. Usually I'm tired if I do this, but kind of goes to show, like, when you want that extra 30, 40 minutes of sleep, like if you wake up 30 or 40 minutes before your alarm clock, you can go back to sleep, but you're going to feel worse when you wake up. If you just get up, you're going to feel better. 10-year at 4.7%. Yeah, as a special occasion last night, my wife wanted to go to a concert. I wasn't going to say no. You know for a fact they found out he was going to say this, and that's why overnight sell-off stopped. They front run it. Oh, somebody knew. I mean, we're up. Look at Bitcoin. 78.5s almost this morning. Does Bitcoin break 80,000 this week? I think it could. If Bessent comes out more dovish than people expect, you know, markets might celebrate. But again, markets are moving on news that U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent could tap the near $1 trillion Treasury General account to fund bond buybacks, according to sources. This was cited by CNBC this morning. But again, semiconductors down, the Kospi index down overnight, MU, and Nvidia is actually technically green right now. But MU, SanDisk, SK Hynix all down overnight today. Samsung had good news on Friday. I have to remember, I can't remember what the news was, but Samsung had some good news overnight, or not overnight, but on Friday, but it dropped as well. Yeah, let me look at TradingView. 2-year treasury bonds. Let me look at TLT here. I'm sure TLT is falling. Or no, I'm sorry, TLT is going up because yields are going down. Sorry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, look at TLT, long-term bonds, which is really what they're talking about in this regard. TLT is jumping up. That means bond prices or bond yields are going down. Yeah, here's yields. I'm looking at TradingView. TradingView pulled it up. I don't know why the one I'm using normally, doesn't populate. But look at Treasury yields. This is 30-year yields. They're falling down. I mean, TLT is going up. These are going down. And remember, guys, if you don't remember this, bond prices and yields inverse each other. So as new bonds are issued that pay out higher yields, they have to reduce the prices of the previous bonds to compensate for it and make people want to buy them, because if the yields are the same, they're going to buy, or if the yields are higher in one set of bonds, then they're not going to buy the old ones unless they reduce the price, right? So they inverse each other. So you can see bond prices went up as yields fell down, inversing each other. So we asked, is Bitcoin going to break 80K? What do you guys think? Yeah, this is news. Is the NASDAQ going up on this news? You can see the news I posted. It's right here. This is the news right here. Bessent could tap the near $1 trillion Treasury General account to fund bond buybacks, according to sources. This is making yields fall. This is making the NASDAQ go up. This is making bond prices fall down this morning. I don't like the Bitcoin logic. That's because 4 billion was a joke. Is $1 trillion enough for a $33 trillion market? I mean, I don't know if it's enough, but markets like it. Again, so Treasury Secretary Bessent could tap nearly $1 trillion cash account to fund expanded bond buybacks, potentially giving it major firepower to push long-term yields down. This is after last week's news. Treasury recently doubled buybacks of longer-term dated bonds to 4 billion. Bessent signaling even larger purchases are possible last week. Oil is falling down a little bit as well here. And oil, on a strange note, is down ahead of Bessent's economic isolation event today. So look at oil. Oil's down to $85 a barrel. Interesting. Bitcoin could push towards 79 to 82,000 supply zone. Good morning, lurking. Hey, lurking's fine, bro. Big bull market. It's gonna hit 80, get people excited for Bitcoin, and then go down to 50, and then rise. I mean, it's already moving markets, Steve. I mean, gold reacting. I mean, initially, again, rate-sensitive markets are celebrating this, obviously. Again, what's rate sensitive? It means rate sensitive markets are, I mean, as the name suggests, but gold and Bitcoin are really rate sensitive right now. They want easing. They want low yields. Yields have been high. Markets are nervous. The geopolitical situation's making people nervous regarding inflation. The gentleman and the two ladies, good morning. Who's the gentleman and the two ladies? You know, Sounds like a band. You talking about J Violet, I'm assuming. Massive sell wall at 80K for Bitcoin. I'm in silver. I mean, silver might not be a bad move right now. Gold's almost pushing back up to 5,000. But again, some of the big breaking news overnight today, guys. Michael Burry selling Alibaba. Nvidia getting trying to build a China competitor. So again, the full breakdown of the Michael Burry news. Big short investor Burry made 2 major moves that dropped Sunday and are moving markets today. He dumped his entire Alibaba position. Number 2, built a large JD.com position. So he rotated out of Alibaba into JD.com. He essentially saying that he thinks Nvidia is going to kill it with earnings, but that it's going to be a negative sign, is what he thinks. He thinks Nvidia is going to do great for earnings. I mean, almost everybody understands the dynamic here regarding Nvidia with, you know, it needs a beat and raise, and, you know, he's essentially saying he thinks they're going to beat and raise. The problem is that it shows too many buyers, or it shows that it's inflated, is essentially what he's saying. Apple green, Microsoft green, Amazon green. What's up, bull market? How you doing, dude? Is Bank of America rate sensitive? I mean, yeah, they're a bank. What's Bank of America symbol? BAC? I'm trying to see what other earnings we have this week. I know we have some. We had XPEV, PDD, nothing really big today. This evening, nothing really big. We got Dick's Sporting Goods, Bank of Nova Scotia tomorrow, Zoom, a couple other small software companies, but we'll get a look at software. But then Wednesday's the big one. We got Salesforce, CrowdStrike, Nvidia, Synopsys. What's up, Edwards? But yeah, gold started to pull back a little bit after this news regarding Bessent. Again, news that Treasury Secretary Bessent could go into that $1 trillion cash, you know, Treasury General account to fund bond buybacks. A lot of people were critical, saying that the buybacks we had got announced last week, being only $4 billion, were not enough. And markets really digested it, and then we came right back. If you look at yields originally went down, obviously, from it, especially longer term yields, but they got bought right back, or they got popped right back higher by the end of the week last week. Yeah, it's BAC. A lot of sell orders up there for gold. At this point, I think a 10 to 20% correction in the S&P will be great for markets long term. Yeah, I mean, yields are still falling down. I think here's bond prices. You know, they're going to be net down from this. Yields are going to be net down from this. Bond prices are going to be higher. Oh, but I was on TradingView, or I was on Tradeovate, and apparently Apex, because of the violation I had last week, they took away the day's profit. That's okay. I knew they were going to do this. It's my fault. It's my fault. Still a good week last week. We still made money last week, but they did remove about $1,600 in profit from my account, which, again, I kind of expected. No one wants our bonds. Yields continue to push higher. Bitcoin is not fooling me. I've known for 13 years. A lot of sell orders. Let's see if we can trade. Honestly, I'm tempted to buy. But if we start reversing here, I mean, I think the question mark is... what is the Bessent speech, you know, press conference today, where they're supposed to debut the quote-unquote economic isolation plan? What does that do to markets, right? Does that make markets optimistic? What does that do to oil? Again, oil's down to $85 for WTI crude today, believe it or not. So I think that's one of the, obviously, the big questions today. Outside of, you know, what we have for the rest of this week, we got a lot of stuff going on this week. Could you repeat what? Is that a bad story? Not that's. I mean, it depends on what you want. Look at the Nasdaq come down here. I'm tempted to buy it. The problem is that the volume profile is a little bit flat here. Like I'm tempted to buy though. I am. Let me see if I buy some of this. I'll buy a little bit of it. We'll see if markets continue to be optimistic around this. We'll take 6 contracts here. And see if we get a bounce back higher. Yeah, gold spiked up and they got faded back down. Again, the news, I'm assuming Punch, you're talking about the Treasury news. All right, we're going to take a little bit off here now. But I'm assuming you're talking about the news from CNBC that said Bessent could use the $1 trillion Treasury general account to fund buybacks. This is basically a continuation of the bond news we got last week. Last week they announced $4 billion in long-term buybacks, basically doubling it. A lot of people said it wasn't enough. The reason for this is because they want to bring yields down, right? Yields are high, inflation fears are there. You have liquidity stuff going on in bonds. And with this type of news, it kind of makes people more optimistic about more easing in the bond market could be coming. This generally is going to be good for inflation worries. It's going to be kind of dovish news is what markets are going to interpret this as. So this is kind of dovish, meaning this is going to help bring yields lower. And ultimately, let's see what the Fed rate hike odds are. All right, so honestly, the rate hike odds are up a little bit. So if we look at the CME Watch tool, currently there's about a 38% chance that we raise rates in the next meeting per the Fed Watch tool. So we have about a 38% chance. This was at about 36, 34 at some points last week after some of these announcements. But yeah, essentially almost 40% chance we're going to raise. I still don't think we're going to. Market speculated that maybe they're doing this as a hedge against a rate hike announcement next meeting, and it's possible, but yeah, still 38% chance. The news is bearish long term. What do you think is bearish about it, market maker Mark? I'm not saying you're wrong. Again, you might be right. I'm just curious to hear your bearish thesis on this. It could be for sure, cause inflation fears, maybe cause could be a panic inducing move, like, oh no, they're desperate enough they're going to start doing this. You could have a lot of reasonable bear thoughts on this. Raising rates are not even on the table if you think about it logically. Yeah, I think they're on the table. I don't think we're going to, and I think markets have been overpricing in the odds of it lately. And that's one of the big discrepancies I've seen in markets, is I think they're simply just overpricing in rate hike odds. I think we saw this last decision. Markets overpriced in rate hike odds, and then when we didn't raise and we paused instead, we got a dovish, kind of a bullish reaction in a lot of rate-sensitive assets. And so I'm going to cut some of this here and just take my little $100 or whatever I made from this, maybe a little bit more early. So we'll get out there. I'll take it. Look at Bitcoin though, man. Bitcoin pulled back about half. Rate cuts are coming early next year. Yeah, I don't think we're going to cut this. Or I don't think we're cutting this year. Maybe early next year. Again, I don't think I've said it once, I'll say it again. The optics, like how it looks. I don't think it looks good to cut rates right now. I don't think we should raise either necessarily, because I don't think raising rates is going to do much to oil-driven inflation anyway. And so I think pausing makes the most sense, like logically. I think pausing makes the most sense right now. I don't think they're raising. I don't think they're hiking. I don't think they're cutting either. I think they're somewhere in the middle, and I think they're going to continue to say that. And they're not giving out forward guidance, and so that's what I think. John, do you think Nike makes a turnaround, bro? I hope so, dude. Look, everybody likes to bring up my Nike trade, and I'm down to Nike, that's for sure. But like, again, if I hold it long term, it doesn't matter that much. It's a small position anyway. People act like I freaking bet the house on Nike. That's not what I did. I don't bet the house on anything. Not really. But leave me alone about Nike. No, I'm just joking. Kind of. Do you guys like Nike as a buy? Let's lean into it, I guess. Do you guys like Nike? John, just do it. Hold Nike until it goes bankrupt? I guess, dude. I mean, it's not going bankrupt anytime soon, but... Nobody likes Nike, that's fair. Reebok? No. Bitcoin moved to 78,600 just now. Yeah, I mean, again, the news about potentially more easing from Bessent in the Treasury is what this is. Again, Bessent said CNBC reported that Bessent could tap near $1 trillion Treasury general account to fund bond buybacks. This is after he did only $4 billion last week, but yields still celebrated on the downside, and markets still liked it. That's the news pushing Bitcoin higher earlier this morning. That's the news pushing, other markets down. But honestly, guys, it's a big week here. It's a big week. It's one of those weeks where I get kind of excited about. Sometimes I hate working. I gotta be honest. Sometimes I'm like, crap, I gotta do this dumb stream that's really not gonna do anything. Today, or this week, is not that. This week I'm honestly excited because there's a lot of stuff to cover. There's a lot of market moving events. And so this is one of those interesting weeks that you get in markets every now and then. Again, it's all just stacked on top of each other. We got Bessent. We have Bessent today, Treasury news, yield fears. Wednesday, we have GDP and PCE inflation. Thursday, we got jobless claims. Friday, we have Kevin Warsh, Jackson Hole Symposium. We also have the BLS benchmark revision that drops right at the same time Warsh is supposed to speak. So Warsh is supposed to speak at 10 a.m. on Friday. The BLS benchmark revision is at 10 a.m. And so be careful at 10 a.m. on Friday, is what I'm saying. Because markets could move. They might not, but they could move a lot from that. So just be careful. I have some New Balances. When I hurt my leg, I got some New Balances. We could be cooking. Yeah, we could. Nike makes clothes. I sold my house when Nvidia came down under 100. It might not. I mean, I'm not telling you to sell your house. Don't take it out of context. John said sell his house. Don't say it. But yeah, I mean, Nvidia under $100 seems like a pretty good buy. So good job, I guess. Or not. If there's one thing I am, it's responsible. And I don't think selling your house for anything is a good move. Yeah, first week of September, we got Jolts, NFP, AVGO, but it's not as big as this week, brother. This week's bigger. We have Nvidia earnings, which is like... AVGO, Broadcom earnings will be big, don't get me wrong. But Nvidia earnings this week are going to be the Super Bowl of earnings. And that mixed with PCE and GDP, that mixed with Kevin Warsh, that mixed with the BLS benchmark revision, mixed with Bessent, mixed with bond buyback announcements and stuff like that we're already getting today. This week's bigger. John said to sell my house, it's your fault. I'm sorry, Ian, bro. I'm sorry, dude. I can't help it. I'm trying. It's not easy. Yeah, Rumble affiliate enters a $13.76 billion 6-year GPU services agreement with a U.S. cloud customer, grants warrants for up to 50.8 million shares. What are y'all saying no for? Did I ask a question that, maybe I did. I don't freaking know. All right. TLT calls today. I mean, you could buy TLT calls. That's assuming we're going to hold here from bond prices. I mean, you could argue we're going to rebound back up. I think it's a reasonable argument. I think this is going to drop yields. Markets are going to... Maybe... TLT bond... prices are a little bit iffy, I think, but again, markets have already reacted and now they're kind of pulling back some. NASDAQ at 29,200s, which is better than where it was. We got into one trade already today, but you can kind of see with the Bessent news, this is the reaction we got. The Bessent news came out, what, like 30 minutes ago? 20 minutes ago? And so you can see, like, the NASDAQ has reacted in a positive way to this. There's the NASDAQ. You can see when the news came out by just looking at TLT. News came out right around 7:30 market time. Right around here. And you can see the news right here on screen chat. Bessent could tap the near $1 trillion Treasury General account to fund bond buybacks, according to sources. It's a little ambiguous, though. I mean, sources, you know, I'll put them in air quotes, but I guess money does grow in trees. I mean, it could. Give me a plant. 2 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, is when Bessent's economic isolation plan is supposed to be announced. Again, Bessent said some... it seemed like it was escalating things. Let me see if I can find it. I found it earlier. Yeah, Bessent writes in Financial Times that economic D-Day is coming from Iran, and countries that calculate appeasement of the regime to be a safer choice should reconsider. Said, quote, at dawn begins an economic D-Day, the single greatest financial offensive ever marshaled against an adversary, end quote. Still quoting him, those who sever Iran's remaining financial and commercial connectivity will reinvigorate their own. They will deepen their access to global capital, reinforce confidence in their markets, and attain the standing they seek in the world economy. The alternative for those who tether themselves to Tehran is the foreclosure of any path to lasting prosperity, and any nation that serves as a financial artery of a withering regime should expect to share in its isolation. The president said on Friday that Washington was observing what happens in the conflict with Iran, and he reiterated a warning against any country that provides a lifeline to them, while he said Iran would love to make a deal but isn't ready to make a right deal, in his opinion. It is almost football season, LSU. Yeah, it is almost football season. Hey, let's see. I think LSU's doing it this year. You know? Yeah, but if you look at this article, this is the CNBC article in which we heard about the treasuries. Quoting it, it says the Treasury could use its nearly $1 trillion general account to help fund recently announced plans to increase purchases of government bonds. According to 2 senior Treasury officials, using the Treasury general account would provide the Treasury with considerable firepower to influence long-term bond yields. They surprised markets last week with an announcement that it would be doubling the size of its buybacks. On CNBC, said such operations could be even larger than the new higher minimum. He didn't specify how he's going to fund it, though. Most people assume that it's going to be selling short-term bills. In the CNBC interview, he called the operation a Treasury twist, a reference to a government or Federal Reserve operation where long-term treasuries are bought and paid for with short-term issuance. Bonds have retreated, though, until this announcement today and this article today. You know, you got to wonder if CNBC is taking some trades around this, you know? Like, they know when this article's coming out. They know what it's going to do to markets. So. Hey, what's up, Ruben? Good morning. We will fund it. Boom, that makes you want to sell. What are y'all talking about? Y'all talking about smoking in the chat? Get your mind out the gutter. All right. Everyone. Yeah, we had Nvidia news and more news moving markets today. Nvidia is planning to use a $6 billion deal it struck this week to build one of the largest, most powerful open-weight AI models. They're doing this to compete with DeepSeek and Kimi K3 from China, so they're trying to compete with China in this regard. Nvidia did react to this news, but It's actually a little down on the day now if we look at Nvidia here. Down to 214s. If Lurkin's wrong, I don't want to be right. What's up, Ryan? All right. Let's see if we can take some trades today. We've gotten into one trade. I'm tempted to buy this, but I think markets are a little bit nervous today. We're going to buy it. We got a support level here. So let's see if we can get in small and then add to a winning trade. I might add more down at like 215 or so, right around the 200 exponential. But let's see. Britt will be here this week. John, how you do that there? Is that a Master P quote for me early this morning, bro? Ugh. Market is nervous because we got a lot of catalysts this week. Friday specifically, we have yeah, Britt's climbing Mount Everest. That's right. The question is, will Warsh be hawkish, dovish, or refuse to answer questions on Friday? I mean, everybody's looking towards this event, and we do have the benchmark revision again at the same time at 10 a.m. But will we get much from this event? You know, I mean, I've covered this event historically. Every year we get something. We get the Jackson Hole Symposium and the Fed chairman speaking. But will we actually get anything from this event is the question. And I don't know. Warsh might refuse to give out any type of guidance. And so then the question pivots to, well, what's he going to say? That if he's not giving out forward guidance on the economy, what's he going to say? He might keep his cards real close to his chest again. And then I think when you speculate that, or when you speculate on that, you have to ask yourself, well, if he doesn't say any forward guidance, how do markets react? Do they react optimistically or do they react negatively? I think the more likely scenario is negatively. But who knows? We'll see. Let's do a poll this morning. I see I haven't done a poll. Does gold... Okay, hold on. We got a little bounce here. What's a good question for the chat? Warsh is here to cut. The real question is when. How about do rates change this year? Or maybe that's a little bit too simple. Does the Fed funds rate change this year? I don't know about that one here. How about what's a better question? We got a little bounce in the NASDAQ right around the 200 exponential, but it looks like we might continue to be falling down. Buy or sell gold? Get out of here with that question. That's the forbidden question. Does the FOMC move rates again this year? Actually, we'll just do. Does the FOMC hike rates this year? Yes or no? Does the FOMC hike rates this year? That's the question for today. Britt's coming back this week. He'll be here Wednesday for sure. He'll be here Friday. Do we hit a recession within a year? Maybe. Does the Fed hike rates this year? 65% say no, 36% say yes. I think we could this year. It just depends. If we're gonna change rates, it's gonna be the last 3 meetings, right? So this meeting, the next one, and the next one are gonna be interesting. I don't think we do. I think we probably keep rates the same, but who knows? And that could always change depending on the data that we get. You know, one of the things they said in the Fed minutes report last week was They essentially said that they were going to wait to move rates till we get incoming data. And the data that we've had since then has been good. CPI was low, PPI was low, inflation data was lower than expected. We'll see what PCE inflation looks like on Wednesday. But the data has not been bad in terms of inflation. So if they're waiting to move rates based off of that inflation data that was optimistic, then maybe we're not going to move rates at all this year. A surprise hike. Yeah, we're about 60-40 in terms of the Fed. Yeah, I got the 9 EMA, I got the 200 exponential. I got the volume weighted average price, but it's way up there. Edgy. I miss Britt always derailing the convo with food. Yeah, he loves food. That's kind of how his conversations off stream with him and I go. I'm not, it's ironic too, because I don't cook anything. Like, I'm not a cook. I can cook breakfast and pancakes, that's it. So I'm not a big cook. And so he talks about cooking with me. I have no idea what he's talking about. Bitcoin is up. I mean, look, this news is good for Bitcoin. You know, the news that they may use the Treasury General account to fund buybacks is good for Bitcoin. Bitcoin did react well to this also. Got up to 78.6 basically. Still over 78. And again, 5 minutes before the news came out, it was under 70. It was under 78. So hey, go Tigers, JB. Thank you, brother. You're late, Matt. 30 push-ups. Who's Matt? Oh, Matt. What's up, Matt? When's the next meeting? The next meeting is in September. We looked at this earlier regarding when or what the Fed is going to do regarding the next meeting. Currently 38%. Like now it's up to 40. So interesting enough, look at the odds for rates go up to over 40% chance that we're going to hike rates next meeting. So now over 40% chance that we're going to raise. I see U.S. plans nuclear-powered merchant fleet to challenge China's shipbuilding. Again, the 30-year Treasury yield has become a key market focus. Concerns over government debt, fiscal credibility. A Bloomberg survey showed 66% of people expect the 10-year yield to get over 5% this year. What is that? 4.7 right now, if I remember correctly, something like that. Oh wait, my trade. I gotta cut this maybe. Some news looks like it just came out here. Hold on. Maybe it's not news, but something pushed the market's down. I think it's mid-September. I believe it's like the 16th. Strategy reports a $5.1 billion US dollar reserve and 1.59 billion in cash as of August 23rd, holding 840,447 Bitcoin. Aggregate price purchased 75.39 billion according to an SEC filing. (16th of September). I made some habanero pork tacos. Nice. Micro Bitcoin up 1.5. Yeah, I mean, this is mostly driven by the CNBC article talking about them using the Treasury General account to fund buybacks. That's making people more optimistic about more easing. Gold is reacting well. Bitcoin reacted well initially from this news. Some of them are starting to pull back, but one of the things that's been really resilient here, like, look, is Bitcoin. Here's Bitcoin. Still pushing up. I'm sorry, it's gold. Bitcoin is still up, but look at gold. Gold reacted well to this news also. Here's where the news came out right here at around 7:30 market time. Got up to 47.28 an ounce for gold. It's back up to over 4,700 now. So gold is reacting well to this. What do you guys want to buy today? What stock, asset, metal, you know, security? What do you guys want to buy today? What are you guys interested in? Just got my second account. Hey, nice, Wolf. Hey, good luck, dude. How does the market... That's what I'm curious about, Ox. Ox says, how does the market not drop on Bessent's speech? I don't know. Oil is actually down on the day though. So like you would assume this would bring the price of oil up regarding Bessent speaking at 2 o'clock today Eastern. You would think oil would go up, but that is not what's happened overnight. Oil is actually down. You know, it was at 86s, 87s last week for WTI crude. Oil's down to 85.40s this morning, closed at 86 plus. So oil is actually down overnight, leading into Bessent's speech. You know which metal? I'm assuming you're talking about gold, oil, gold, IBIS, SK Hynix, long on pork tacos, platinum. Yeah, but here's gold. I mean, gold's up. Gold's been doing really well. What was the 7:30 news? The 7:30 news this morning, what's up, Tanvir, was that CNBC posted an article that said Bessent could tap the nearly $1 trillion Treasury general account to fund more buybacks. This made yields fall, made yield-sensitive assets like gold and Bitcoin go up. NASDAQ reacted positive to this, but the NASDAQ is still red on the day. No 8:30 reports today. No, we don't have any 8:30 reports. Yeah. Gold miners. I need to shut up. Diabolical. Oh, you're talking about food. Yeah, semis are down. Again, the Kospi index dropped overnight. Here's MU. Here's SanDisk. Here's SK Hynix. Like, they were all down overnight tonight. Or last night. So they are down. Nvidia's down also. It's one of the reasons markets are reacting. It's one of the reasons the NASDAQ is down today. Is semis, chips, memory, DRAM. They're all down overnight. They're just moving the Kospi and those markets, memory, you know, they're moving so much. Like, they're up big and then they're down big and then they're up big. And like every time they rebound, markets are like, hey, Burry's underwater. Ah, ha, 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 ha. And then every time they drop, it's like, oh no, it's the end of the world. Memory's crashing. Burry's correct. And so they're just back and forth so much. MU, if you, you know, he's technically down in MU now though after today. It's at 935s, but these are so back and forth. These are so volatile. Sibbies are overpriced. Sellers are hitting Sibbies hard except for Nvidia. I want more SpaceX. I'm trying to go to Mars. Well, you got a long time to wait there, bro. SpaceX is down though. It's at 133s today. So I saw a post that nanos are trading. Are they really? What's the symbol for nanos? I haven't even tried. I don't even know if I would trade nanos, but what's the symbol? Would it be in? No, it's not in. Yeah, what would be the symbol for nano contracts if they're here? NMQ? Yeah, I don't see those either. Yeah, let me look this up. Are y'all just saying stuff? I'm looking this up. NNQ is what it would be. Look, slash NNQ. I mean, that's one of them. Depends. Here's a Z. No. I mean, they might be here. Nanos, but if they are here, there's no volume. Nanos, they might be up, but I don't see any volume with them. Anybody see the Chinese robots running fast? Are you talking about the one where the robots just kind of run straight into the wall and then break? I did see that, bro. They are moving though. They are moving. How many screens? 2. I got 2. I got a 49-inch ultra wide. And then I have a just a regular one that you guys see. All right, look at the NASDAQ start to jump up a little bit here, though. Let's see if it holds. Again, we did get news regarding strategy. They're reporting a 5.1 billion US dollar reserve, 1.59 billion in cash as of August 23rd, holding 840,447 Bitcoin. They bought for 75.39 billion, according to an SEC filing. But other news overnight is that U.S.-Canada relations have failed. U.S. Trade Representative Greer is speaking right now. He says on why the deal failed, Canada wanted more. Canada was offered the best access to the United States. But that deal did fall apart. Oh, invest in Unicorn something. Yeah, I was wondering if it was fake, Max, regarding the robots, because like the sparks after the robots fell, the robot singular fell. I was worried it was fake, but those things are freaking moving, dude. I feel like I could still beat it though if I tried really hard. Yeah, Canada deal fell apart over the weekend. We kind of saw this happening at the end of last week. I see some people in chat asking about it. So now there's a full trade battle between Canada and the U.S. 50% U.S. tariffs on Canadian goods took effect. Canadian Prime Minister Carney said retaliating with 50% dollar-for-dollar tariffs from September 8th. Talks collapsed on Friday over medium heavy-duty vehicle tariffs. Carney said Trump miscalculated by escalating. Canada expects trade conflict to last beyond the midterms. President said Canada is foolish to think it could win a trade war with President Trump. Or SEC... U.S. Transportation Secretary Duffy said Canada is foolish to think it could win a war with President Trump. But yeah, we're kind of going at it with Canada. We also had Kashkari, who was a hawkish dissenter, talk about the Treasury news. He said Treasury market is functioning as it should. Recent surge is unlikely to impact monetary policy deliberations. So essentially, the translation of this is that the Fed is not reading Treasury buybacks as needing coordinated response. So essentially, he's saying this is not QE. Again, we did have Iran's President Pezeshkian say that they cannot continue war forever. On Hormuz shipping, fewer than 20 vessels transited over the weekend. We did have news of a strike. UK MT tanker in Saudi Arabia. But I think most eyes are going to pivot to what Bessent says today. NASDAQ starting to bounce back over the 200 exponential. It's not a prez, he's a prime minister, but yeah. The deal fell apart because Cardi and... What's the best robotic stocks to invest in? Well, there's a couple good ones. Y'all list y'all's favorite ones. Is this a buy or sell the NASDAQ right now? We did a poll earlier. Does the FOMC hike rates this year? 51% say yes. I'm going to end this poll. And we're going to do another poll here. What's a good poll? Does gold close the week? Do gold futures close the week over 4,700? Yes or no? Do gold futures close the week over 4,700? John, can you recommend which stocks will give a 10x return? No. I mean, chat, what stocks are going to give you a 10x return? I have no idea. That's not a question I can really answer. Unitree, ASST. So we're talking robotics now, huh? I'm tempted to buy the NASDAQ here, but I think it's a little bit iffy. And I do believe robotics is the future, but these have seen big gains over the last few weeks. Look at ASST. Where's the VIX at this morning? I'm assuming the VIX is up a little bit today. Yeah, it's up a little bit. It's at 15, so almost 16 for the VIX. So it's up a little bit. No one can answer that. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about the, 10x returns. That's not the right way to look at markets. There's a range, and 10x is a pretty aggressive range, rather. The more you try to make, the more risky it is, generally. So if you're trying to make 10x, you got to take a lot of risk to do that. That's not really how it works. Bro, they will close the day over 4,700. They might, but they might pull back. Again, I think gold will probably close the day over 4,700 unless it takes a turn back down. But that's not really what I'm asking here. I'm asking, does it close the week over this? And questions regarding gold are going to be, PCE, GDP, WARSH, and the benchmark revision by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Those are going to move gold futures. So it's not about today. I mean, we're over 4,700 already. What I'm really asking is, do we hold up here, considering all the catalysts that come out this week regarding, markets and gold and Bitcoin and yields? That's the real question. Looks like 74% of the chat says yes, it will, which is probably pretty fair. Anything over 30% usually carries much more risk of ruin. Yeah, for sure. The more you try to make short term, the higher chance of losing short term. I voted yes. I bet no. You think gold's going down this week, Steve? Gold's going to keep pumping as long as the Fed keeps buying it. Again, U.S. Trade Representative Greer speaking on CNBC right now. He said the U.S. offered Canada a lot, but Canada wanted more. But yeah, here's gold. I mean, gold's up there for sure. The news about the buybacks are really what's benefiting gold. Dollar index, I'm sure, is down on this news that we got this morning. Although it did rebound back up. It's still pushing back down now, though. But Bitcoin reacted well. He said Canada wanted more. Canada was offered the best access to the U.S. Political reasons were a driver for Canada. No issues proceeding with our trade policy as planned. I'm tempted to buy this. What do you guys think? Is this buy or sell? In the NASDAQ specifically, I'm tempted to buy it. Markets reacted to the Treasury news again regarding they might use the Treasury General account, which has got about $935 billion in cash to fund expanded bond buybacks versus just using straight up short-term debt issuance to pay for it. And I think this is good news for markets here, but depends on what markets we're talking about, really. Do you guys think this is good news? Crypto bull market is back. Bro, your face is glowing. This has got to be troll comments. You're talking about my face, bro? Bro, I'm half hungover today, dude. Troll comment if I've ever seen one today. I mean, my face is glowing, but it's a troll comment if I've ever seen one. Bessent speaks at 2 o'clock today. 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today. Stop trolling my favorite redhead trader. I don't know if you're talking about the dream I had. I told you guys about the dream. I must have. I genuinely had a dream. I looked in the mirror and I had red hair. I was a ginger in my dream. It was kind of a nightmare. I woke up and I was like, oh. I was like, man, it's just a dream. Don't worry. Shout out to all my gingers out there. Do we have any redheads in the chat right now? Shout out to you, I guess. No redheads. Wendy's. All right, the dollar index continues to fall. Gold still pushes up here. Look at gold at 4,700s right now. Bitcoin probably rising as well, no? Yeah, Bitcoin back up to 78,400s. Soothing voice of John. I like redheads, don't get me wrong. I mean, redheads are cool. Do I trust them? No. You know, are they great people? Sure. Most of the time. Kind of. Does blonde with red in the beard count? I'm going to go ahead and count it just because that's kind of me. I've got some red in my beard. You've just insulted half of Ireland and Scotland. Fingers everywhere. I'm not one, but they're cool. Yeah, they're cool. Alright. I did buy a little bit here of the NASDAQ. Maybe this is a greedy buy. Again, if you want to help support your boy here in this channel, check out Apex. Again, Apex still has their 90% off sale going on. You can get 5 accounts for $75 on Apex right now. For $75, you can get 5 of these base accounts, 75 bucks. And most of Apex is automated now. So, like, everything's automated, which is great. But if you use code BGT at checkout, you can get $75. Will get you 5 of these base accounts, 25K accounts. You can get a no activation fee, 100K account for $59 right now if you use my code BGT. I appreciate the love, guys. Thanks so much. See what happens for the rest of the day today. But I did buy a little bit of this. I am green on the day, or at least I was before this trade. We'll see if it holds. But if you want to check them out, I'll put the link up. They are an affiliate of mine, of course. I'm biased. But check them out. Here's the link. Y'all still talking about redheads in the chat. Okay. All right. It's a serious chat. Doyle rules. Alright, so U.S. Trade Representative Greer, when asked about what U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent may say later, he says, quote, he says the U.S. president is comfortable with using all levers at his disposal. So a little bit of ambiguity here. I'm going to get out of this trade. We just turned too bad. I think we might bounce at the 200 exponential, but look at Bitcoin jump here. Bitcoin just jumped up 78,600s, broke highs of the day. Got over 78,600s here. Bitcoin continuing to rise. Gold's not really reacting that well, but Bitcoin's still rising on this news. 78,640s now for Bitcoin. Do y'all think we have a bullish or bearish open here? Do you think market volatility unlocks at the opening bell today, guys? What do y'all think? Yeah, I don't think the Fed's raising rates here. And most people, you know, in the chat, oh my goodness, hold on, dude, hold on. All right, it looks like it was a good thing I got out of my short position because look at this. Something just happened. Something just happened. Hold on. Yeah, whoa. All right. It can't be a Monday morning without some news here. Chicago Fed National Activity Index fell to negative 0.08% from 0.06% positive. Would the Chicago National Activity Index really do this much to markets? I don't know. But again, it was negative 0.08%. They forecast negative 0.5. I don't think this is what it is. It could be what U.S. Trade Representative Greer is saying on CNBC right now or wherever he's speaking. Let's look for tweets here first. All right, we're looking. I don't see anything. Treasury is expected to announce it will broaden the scope of secondary sanctions on nations and entities conducting business with Iran, according to sources. Yeah, I mean, we already kind of knew that, though, no? But I'm showing U.S. Treasury is expected to announce it will broaden the scope of secondary sanctions on nations, entities conducting business with Iran, according to sources. I guess that could be what this is. I don't see any tweets. Again, U.S. Treasury to make activity in certain Iran sectors subject to secondary sanctions. I think that's the news doing this here. Expected to announce a broadened scope of secondary sanctions on countries and entities doing business with Iran, according to source familiar with Bessent's plan here. I think, I'm assuming that's what this is. Where's oil? Oil did spike simultaneously. So I think that's what just happened. I'll put the news on screen here. This is the news that I'm seeing right now. You can see the news on the screen. I think that's what tanked markets. Good thing I got out of that long. Yeah, and again, look at oil. So oil did jump up simultaneously to this. It started to come back down here, but oil did jump up. So it looks like markets just digested this news and then pulled right back down. But that's what just happened here. Yeah, it could be bots. I mean, we retraced the whole move down, or the whole move up in oil. Oil originally spiked on this news up to 86.20s. It's all the way back down now. But this is kind of the problem with algorithms is like algorithms pick up these catalysts, right? But the issue is that they're not accurate necessarily because, you know, number one, I think we already kind of knew this. You know, I mean, what did you guys think? What did you guys think Bessent was going to say today? I mean, you know, this whole time it sounded like he was going to say we're expanding the scope of the sanctions on companies that do business with Iran. I mean, we already kind of knew this. Again, Treasury Secretary Bessent in Financial Times earlier wrote, "Economic D-Day is coming for Iran, and countries that calculate appeasement of the regime to be a safer choice should reconsider." He said, "At dawn begins Economic D-Day, the single greatest financial offensive ever marshaled against an adversary. Those who sever Iran's remaining financial and commercial connectivity will reinvigorate their own. They will deepen their access to global capital, reinforce confidence in the markets, and attain the standing they seek in the world economy. The alternative for those who tether themselves to Tehran is the foreclosure of any path to long-lasting prosperity, and any nation that serves as a financial artery of a withering regime should expect to share in isolation." So, I mean, we kind of already knew this, but algorithms pick it up and they move with it. And, but again, the recent news that moved markets down like this is that the U.S. Treasury expected to announce it will broaden the scope of secondary sanctions on countries and entities doing business with Iran. RTRS cites source familiar with Bessent's plan, Treasury to make any activity in certain Iran sectors subject to secondary sanctions. So that is what just moved markets here. But markets kind of got bought right back up. Oil is completely flat now. It went up to 86 something a barrel of WTI crude. It's back down to 85.50s again. So somebody said I held 5 micros all night on oil to get out at 86.13 plus 140. I have done trading oil for months again. That saved me. Hey, good job, bro. Good job. Hopefully you got out right in time because it didn't stay up there very long. Here's the oil right now. It did not stay up there very long. It got up to 86.20s. Now it's back down. It's basically flat. 85.60 a barrel now. So when he gets nervous, that voice starts cracking. Whose voice? I'm assuming you're talking about Warsh. Warsh always kind of sounds like he's about to cry. You know? Like he's just, you know, right on the edge of crying. That's Warsh to me. Maybe he is. I don't know. John, do you think Canada and US reach a deal soon? I have no idea. It's not looking like it this morning. You know, talks kind of fell apart. Now we're kind of back at it with them, but I have no idea. Sometimes that happens and then boom, you get a deal. So you never know. John, this is good news. Nvidia reports Wednesday expectations are high. Analysts expecting 90% year-over-year revenue growth. Yeah, no, for sure. And again, Burry did talk about Nvidia a little bit. So Burry did speak some regarding Nvidia here. What did Burry say? Let me find Burry. Yeah, so Burry said, quote, they will be lights out regarding Nvidia earnings. He said, quote, they will be lights out and accompanied by the kind of hype that tells you FOMO has almost all the people that would buy it already in it. And so hype, he acknowledges the hype, but he confirms it could be FOMO exhaustion. He said roughly 100% of chip makers announced revenue is circular. He cited the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements 2026 annual economic report. He said that's the central bank of central banks, not some random analyst. This is institutional validation. He's essentially worried circular financing has become widespread. And look at the NASDAQ still move here. It jumped up a little bit. Now it's coming back down. He's still heavy in Nvidia, MU, Applied Materials, Palantir, SOX, Caterpillar, Q shorts. He's also shorting Nebius, shorting Oracle, shorting Tesla. He said, I stand by my analysis. And again, we talked about this earlier, but he said, I stand by my analysis. I'm not claiming Nvidia is Enron. It's clearly Cisco. And so what does he mean by saying Nvidia is clearly Cisco? What he means is that he's correlating this to the 2000, crash. If you look at Cisco here on a really long-term chart, and I had people mention Cisco to me over the years when I talk about long-term markets go up. One of the stocks people would reference is Cisco. And the reason they reference it is because Cisco hit $80 plus, slightly over $80 a share in 2000. And then the bubble burst, right? It took 26 years for Cisco to get back up to that $80 level. We didn't actually break $80 on Cisco until really recently. Like we broke $80 in Cisco only back here in February of this past year. Now it's gone up since then, but essentially what he's saying is that we're overvalued. And regarding Nvidia, he thinks they're doing great, worried about circular financing. And I think they're going to beat, if we look at poly market odds here, I'm going to put it in sub only mode, by the way. Yeah, we'll put this thing in sub only mode. But if we look at poly market, let me see if I can find some Nvidia bets. Nvidia closes on, is Nvidia up or down on, this is July. We don't have any. Yeah, we don't really have any good polls on poly market regarding Nvidia earnings. John, we're looking at the bull case. Bitcoin breaks and holds 80K. Yeah, I mean, look, Bitcoin is really rate sensitive, right? Whoa, man, dude. All right, hold on. Look at the NASDAQ here. What a bunch of weird candles. We had these big swinging candles just now. Hold on. It looks like something just came out. I don't know what it is. I'm looking at oil. Could just be liquidity grabbing events here, though. Might not necessarily be catalyst driven, but we just wiggled a decent amount on the NASDAQ short term. That was weird. I see China develops missiles to target planes thousands of miles away. Okay, so the president just tweeted. That's what this is. I saw it wiggle like this. I was like, what could this be? The president just tweeted. All right, so we do have a tweet. All he said, right, and this is what moved markets. All he said one sentence. Iran is completely collapsing, end quote, President DJT. That's all he said. All right, but he said Iran is completely collapsing. That's all he said. This is what wiggled the market just now. It looked, I saw it move, right? Initially, it popped all the way up to 240s, and then it fell right back down. But again, the president did just tweet. He said, quote, Iran is completely collapsing, end quote. That's basically all he said. So just be careful trading markets right now. We got a lot of things that are moving markets big over the last few weeks, and this week is not any exception to that. I think as of now, at least for Monday so far. But again, the president just tweeted, Iran is completely collapsing, end quote. Oil's still down on the day, though. Let's see if we get some movement now from this. Bitcoin's going for 79,000. Yeah, Bitcoin's a little resilient to all this stuff. Bitcoin's going to 79K almost. Nasdaq's net down from that tweet now. But look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, after the news we got earlier regarding CNBC that they might use the Treasury General account to fund buybacks versus short-term bond issuance, is still making Bitcoin rise, I think, here. Gold's still moving up. Bitcoin's still moving up. We're getting some geopolitical stuff. Bro, I'm almost out of my coffee today. But again, the president just tweeted. It was one sentence. And it just said, Iran is completely collapsing, end quote. That's all he said. Oil, 85.50s. Yeah. So where are you guys watching the stream from today? Hello, guys. How you guys doing? Hello, it's me. Where are you guys watching the stream from? Let me know. Oil's starting to rise here on this quote, though. 85.60 a barrel. Sweden upstairs. Bro, get out of my house, Matt. Indiana, work, Seoul, Bitcoin, Southern Ohio, Cyprus, Earth, Sweden, Belgium, Sydney, Florida, Covington. Hey, shout out to Covington. Like I said, I've been to my family's. Some of my family lived in Covington. They're originally from New Orleans, but Shafunkta. I always love the word. Sounds like a curse word, but it's not. France, Singapore, North Carolina, Orlando, Albania, Jamaica, Taiwan, South Carolina, South Korea. Hey, what's up, dude? Argentina, Tobago, South Carolina, Lurkville. Hey, Rockford, Illinois, Katy, Texas. Katy, Texas is nice. Honestly, it's really nice. I had family live in Katy for a while. Katy's nice. If I didn't move to where I'm at now, I would have moved to Katy, really. Mars, Vegas, Lurkville, Austria, India, Jordan, Fiji. Now y'all are just saying stuff, I think. Miami. Hey, what's up in Benoi? Philly. What's up, dude? All right. Bitcoin still pushing towards 79,000 right now, guys. Look at Bitcoin. Just broke highs of the day again for Bitcoin. Hey, Punch, thank you for the donation. I have no idea what kind of money that is, but thank you, dude. I appreciate the donation, Punch. Shout out to Punch with the 19, whatever that is. Somebody in chat will probably tell me. But thank you, my friend. I appreciate it, dude. Now I gotta use this. Thank you for the $1.20. I appreciate it. Thank you, bro. Thank you. That's pesos. It's a rupee. That's Indian rupee, sir. Nasdaq broke last week's lows earlier today. Yeah, Nasdaq's down. Look at Bitcoin, though. Up to 78,900. Bitcoin about to break 79,000 this morning. So Bitcoin is about to break 79,000 if it continues higher. Let's see if it does. Again, the president tweeted maybe 5 minutes ago. He said, Iran is completely collapsing, end quote. That's all he said. We got news about... We got news earlier about the Treasury going to use the Treasury General account potentially to fund buybacks instead of short-term bond issuance. That's making Bitcoin rise. That's really the news that made Bitcoin just push up towards 79,000. 79,000 is right here, though. And now sometimes we get up to these levels and then we come right back down. And so we sometimes make moves close to these levels and then just fall right back down. So we'll see. But we're getting up there. Nasdaq's starting to rebound back up as well here. Gold's probably moving up with it, though. I mean, gold's up there. So we're trying to move up. I'm from the future. That's fair. Please suggest gold. I don't have any suggestions on gold, my friend. I have no idea what gold's going to do, really. Genuinely. I think there's a lot of question marks regarding gold. Yields are really sensitive right now. You know, the Treasury news that we got this morning regarding, I think CNBC said that the Treasury may tap into the Treasury General account, which has got like $935 billion in it, to fund some of these buybacks to control yields, right? That news should be like good for gold. Bitcoin now, it's also good for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now up to 78,962. So it's almost to 79,000 for Bitcoin right now. So Bitcoin is reacting well. I wake up every day, crypto's up. Let's see what we get today. Honestly, it's an interesting day for sure. A lot of stuff going on today. I'm just glad I feel good. Like I said, I got to bed late. I went to a concert last night. We went and saw 311. We went and saw there's a bunch of other people, Atmosphere and some other people. And I used to skateboard, so I listened to Atmosphere a good bit. They were on a lot of skate videos growing up. But got home late, but somehow I got enough sleep. I don't know how. Here's Bitcoin making a push back up here. 79,000 is right here for Bitcoin, though. We are very close to breaking 79,000. And then the question, I think, pivots to, well, what does gold do as well? Like, do we break 80K? If we break 79, 80,000 is staring at us. So 80,000 is what a lot of people are watching. Some people think 80,000 in Bitcoin is going to be the top. Something is going to be a catalyst to push it higher. Which one do you guys fall in? Is 80,000 the top or the start? Let me know. But Bitcoin now up to 78,971 for Bitcoin here. Still pushing higher. All right, we're up to 225s. It's just starting. I need daily candle over 82. There's so Bitcoin has broken 79,000 this morning. Bitcoin up to 79,027, 79,050, or 79,062 now for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin continues to push. Hey, later, Leah. Sorry. I got the feeling New York Open is going to be crazy today. Honestly, we've had a lot of different news. Nvidia is also pushing up. Look at Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin just spiking here. Let me see regular markets. Nvidia is starting to bounce back. Bitcoin is up to 79,272 right now. So Bitcoin has broken 79,000. 80,000 is here. So we're getting pretty close to 80K in Bitcoin today. Markets are still starting to run. So Bitcoin is going. Buy gold, Jay Violet. Shh, not you, Jay Violet. Don't do this to me, Jay Violet. Don't do it. Yeah, dude, Atmosphere was great, honestly. You don't realize how many songs you know by Atmosphere until you go see them. New York always crazy. Sometimes it's crazy. I think this week it might be crazy. Again, Burry said earlier regarding Nvidia, $500 billion spending plan AI infrastructure deal is a, quote, Wall Street gimmick reminiscent of Enron's operations. But Nvidia is starting to pop here. Let's see if there's any. I don't think there's any news. Again, today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Some people are saying it's 1 o'clock, though. It's kind of iffy here, to be honest. But Bessent is supposed to announce, followed by a Q&A with a press conference today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I'm seeing it here. Some news suggests it's going to be 1 o'clock. But again, market is going to be focusing on that potential escalation on sanctions against Iran. All right, so Bitcoin got up to 272. It's now pulling back down. It's under 29. It's under 79,000 again. But Bessent, I think, is going to be the main event today. No, I know. I'm just messing with it. It's all good. So I guess this points to gold and Bitcoin being greatly purchased with borrowed money. Yeah, I mean, they want to use it anyway, though. It's just a pullback on Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, I'm not... Bitcoin's too strong right now. It's not like I'm shorting it here. Gold's starting to push up as well, 47.24. So there's a couple things. Again, if you're just now tuning into us today, There's a couple things moving markets, obviously, right now. Number one, Nvidia earnings, PCE GDP data Wednesday, WARSH Friday, BLS revision Friday at the same time. That's number one. Markets are preparing for that. Number two, we got news from, I believe it was CNBC earlier today, that said that the Treasury might use the Treasury General account, which has $935 billion in it, to help fund buybacks instead of using short-term debt issuance. All right, that made Bitcoin optimistic. That's really why Bitcoin is pushing up like this. It's because Bitcoin wants easing, and this is kind of stealth QE in some ways. And again, markets like it. Yields down on that news. We also had the president tweeting about Iran earlier. He said one sentence: Iran is completely collapsing, end quote. That's all he said. Markets did move a little bit. They wiggled some from this news. But most of the attention is going to pivot to Bessent today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where he's supposed to detail escalation of sanctions against Iran and further details regarding last week's Treasury action at the long end. Focus is going to be on secondary sanctions with Iran, possible action on Chinese entities as well, retaliation through the Strait of Hormuz. So markets are going to watch for signals of any measure to contain long-term yields. So basically any measure regarding some of this Treasury action that we've seen over the last week. But markets are going back and forth today, so just be careful. It's almost 9 o'clock. We'll see what the 9 a.m. scrum does to us today. But maybe more inflation might come here. Yeah, that's the fear of this, right? And some people are saying they're hedging against, movement as well here. But yeah, Bitcoin getting back to those high levels. We had this drop at the NASDAQ earlier today. It's not even a big drop, but it's a move. This was basically just after we heard more news regarding, all right, Trump plans another 100,000 H-1B fee, a new proposal. But we heard news earlier that the U.S. Treasury is expected to announce it will broaden the scope of secondary sanctions on countries and entities doing business with Iran. Yeah, I mean, markets are moving. Let's see if Bitcoin breaks 80. I think 80. I mean, look at Nvidia, though. Nvidia is also going okay. Bitcoin's back up to some of those high levels. But Nvidia is also bouncing back. MU and SanDisk. Markets that are down today are mostly memory. SanDisk, Kospi was down. SanDisk, MU, SK Hynix. They're all down today. Again, the Kospi dropped overnight, like 3.5%. And so memory plays are down this morning. What to expect from Bessent today? I really don't know. I don't know what Bessent's going to say. I'm assuming it's going to be escalating, but maybe he'll pad it a little bit with some of the Treasury news. Bitcoin just broke highs again. 79, 271's now, 290 actually the highs. So Bitcoin just broke highs again. It's still pushing up after the Treasury news regarding the Treasury General account. Bitcoin stock symbol, please. I mean, I'm looking at BTC/USD, Bitcoin US dollar. That's what I'm looking at. I think that's what most markets look at when they look at Bitcoin. Yeah, that's the news earlier, Robert. Yeah, we covered that already. It's basically news that they're not going to use short-term debt issuance, and instead they're going to use the Treasury General account, which has $935 billion in it. Push yields lower. You can see TLT react to this news, which is longer-term bond prices and yields. If yields go down, this goes up, right? That news came out here for TLT, and you can see we're up here now. So that's definitely what's moving Bitcoin, I think, this morning. That's what's making people optimistic regarding it. Kospi drop is a precursor of what will happen in the NASDAQ. Yeah, I mean, the 9 a.m. scrum happens at 1:20, though. Let's see what that looks like. Well, we got to still pay attention to, like, Bitcoin today. Bitcoin's now pulling back. It went up to 290, 79, 290. Let's pull it back to 79K. Let's see if it holds now over 79s. Yeah, you can look at Bitcoin Tether. Explain why yields go down and TLT goes up. I mean, I've done this so many times. I almost feel like it's a troll question. Yields go down, bond prices go up is because as new bonds are issued, if you think about it in this way, right? If new bonds are issued, like let's say, what are 30-year yields at right now? 30-year yields are at about 5.24%, right? So, all right, let's say new bonds are issued and yields are at 5.24%. Previously, we're at 5.1. All right, let's just use this as, I'm just using this as an example. And if they keep bond prices the same price, who's going to buy the lower yielding bond for the same price as the newer bonds that pay higher yields? Nobody is, right? And so what they have to do is they have to reduce the price of the previous bonds to make people want to buy them. They make them a little bit cheaper, even though they're paying lower yields, they're cheaper, and that compensates for the higher yield of new bonds. All right, so that is why bond prices and yields inverse each other. That's why TLT is up and bond yields are down from this, is because they have to compensate for, you know, the new bonds and fluctuate the price and vice versa. So that's what the dynamic is. Yeah, the 2-year represents the Fed mostly here. I see Steve say, look at the 2-year. 2-year represents more accurately the Fed and what they're doing. Fed funds rate. Should we buy SK Hynix short term today? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That's a question. I have no idea. I think long term buying memory makes sense when we're at these levels that we're at now. Low PE. I mean, memory is going to be needed. DRAM is going to be needed, right? But I've said this over and over again. But short term, I have no freaking idea because there's big movements, volatility, and stuff like that in these markets. So short term, I have no idea. We might keep crashing. I guess what I'm trying to say is Burry might be right short term. Long term, I still think these are going to be fine. But short term, who freaking knows? Should you buy memory short term, chat? What do you guys think? Here's 9 a.m. So 9 a.m. just hit. We didn't get a lot of volatility from it or anything like that. Still pretty flat here. But should you buy memory short term? What do you guys think? How long term? I would say like 15 years. 79,000 still holding for Bitcoin though, but it's all just a guess here, you know. Like it's an educated guess, but it's a guess nonetheless. That rhymed more than I thought it would. Should you buy binds short term? Most people say no. Bury the legend. Do you trade Bitcoin? Yeah. What's a good stock to short today? I have no idea. Wait until 9:30. The opening bell. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, the opening bell should be interesting today for sure. Robert, we'll see though. Most people say no, you shouldn't buy memory short term. And I'm not even saying that it doesn't go up short term. I'm saying I have no idea, and there's a lot of variance short term with memory. With everything going on the Kospi index, it's like it's going up 5% overnight. Then it's going down 6% overnight. Then it's going up 7% overnight. Then it's going down 8% overnight. So I think there's risks, obviously, buying memory right now. Especially ahead of Nvidia earnings, which are going to move memory plays as well, for sure. You know, in order to produce Nvidia chips, you need HBM. You know, you need HBM. Hello. Oh, today is that day. I love you. Mm-hmm. Have a great day. My son's gonna be wearing a suit today, guys. Y'all better say nice things, you know. All right, Bitcoin's still consolidating around 79,000. Y'all better say nice things. All right. Crypto on a tear. Yeah, I mean, crypto on a tear because of the Treasury announcement. If they use the TGA account, it's got 935 billion in it. Maybe less worried about short-term bond issuance, but also, I mean, Bitcoin rising, gold rising. More firepower with, you know, yield control. Gold did just recently break highs of the day. It got up to 47.29 tens. Bullish or bearish for the day? I'm not sure. I really don't know. Right now, I'm kind of split down the middle. I mean, the NASDAQ is down. Memory is down. Fears regarding this week are here. The question mark, again, is what Bessent says during the economic isolation update at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think that's what markets are holding on to right now. That's going to move yields. That's going to move oil, potentially. That's going to move markets in general. So the question is, more or less escalation, guys. More or less escalation. Hey, Carol. Where's Jack? Yeah, I mean, 9:30 is almost here. I am down on the day right now, which is not good. But honestly, the NASDAQ hasn't really given us too much since a lot of these catalysts came out this morning. Oil started to jump a little bit, though. Hold on. Gold just broke highs. Again, markets are preparing for what Bessent describes as economic D-Day. Dude, I'm showing either 1 or 2 p.m. I hope it's at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Jack's at hole. Yeah, gold's starting to move here. Look. 47.30s. I mean, this is a win for gold, right? This is a win for gold. It's risk on versus risk off sentiment regarding Bitcoin and gold. Lower yields is better. Higher yields is worse for gold. And one of the things that the announcement regarding the Treasury and the TGA account is going to make yields fall. Interesting enough, though, if we look at the 2-year Treasury yields, they're not moving as much. And if we look at the Fed Watch tool, we're over 40% likelihood of a hike next meeting. Look at gold up there, 47.30s. I'm sure Bitcoin maybe getting another run as we approach the opening bell here. The economic calendar doesn't show. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be at 2 p.m. is what I heard. But, we'll see. More or less escalation on Bessent today. I mean, Steve says more because once Iran will be back against the wall, they will swing back. Yeah, I mean, I think the easy bet is more. The easy bet is higher oil. And speaking of oil, oil's down on the day with all this. But all right, NASDAQ starting to fall down a little bit. All in on SanDisk. I mean, SanDisk just broke lows under $1,500 a share. The big picture is the Fed, our government, is using inflation to manage the $40 trillion national debt. Recent audit of Fornox is we have $1 trillion worth of gold. Yeah, I mean, what you mean by that is like, okay, if we have debt, right? One of the things that takes debt out is inflation. In a way, right? Like I always use this example when somebody talks about this, which is that like, okay, if we've got 40 trillion in debt, let's just say 40 trillion. Let's see, that's 4 billion, 40 billion, 40 trillion. All right. Now let's say we get 3% average inflation over a 20-year period. It's going to make that debt a lot more manageable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's almost going to cut the debt in half over a 20-year period if we get an average of 3% inflation, right? So this is the way in which people talk about inflation, managing debt, combating debt through inflation. Because if we get that inflation, 40 trillion is a lot less big. It's still not good. I mean, inflation's bad, but this is usually what people mean when they say debt is getting managed through inflation. And it's not necessarily wrong. I'm sure they're definitely, you know, using this a little bit. What are you doing your next member only stream? We don't do that here. I can't designate my stream only for members, you know. Oh man, look at this kid. He's ready to make a deal this morning. Look at this kid right here.
Love you.
Look at him, ready to make a deal this morning. I love you, dude. Have a good day, man. Jack, how much for Google stock? No? Okay. I love you, bud. He is not happy to wear that suit. I believe it. His school's freaking ridiculous. Mondays, he's got to put a suit on. He is not happy about it. I wouldn't be happy about it either, dude. You throw me in that suit as an, you know, at his age, I might boycott it, dude. He's not happy about it. No. Deserves a watch. Yeah, last time he tried to get me to let him wear a watch, I said no. I don't have a watch I trust my son with. He's like I was when I was a kid. He doesn't pay attention, which is exactly how I was as a kid. You give me a nice watch to wear, it's gonna come back. Something's messed up on it. I'm gonna get back. All right, guys, let's Bitcoin break it out here. Yeah, I mean, it's been breaking out all morning. Yeah, Bitcoin just broke highs again. 311. 79,311. Just broke highs again. 79,341 for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is now pushing towards 80,000 this morning. Oh, he's trading stocks one day, Elizabeth, for sure. Look at Bitcoin, though, guys. 79,375. See you this morning. We are moving up. Markets are starting to move up a little bit as well, but look at Bitcoin. Get up. Do we break 80K today in Bitcoin? Yes or no, chat? Do we break 80,000? Put it up in the chat. Let me hear it. Do we break 80,000? We could. We could. Yes. No, yes. Do you own any ETFs? Yes, I do. Possible break for sure. Hopefully 82,000. It just needs a little spark. Yeah. 82K. Bitcoin will pump. Futures contract on Bitcoin controls 5. Early move could be a trap. Absolutely. I mean, it could be a trap. Again, I think eyes are all pivoted towards Bessent today. 2 p.m. 90,000 this week. Absolutely. Definitely. I jumped into IBIT ETF. Bull trap. Alright, so we got a little pullback on the NASDAQ just now. We got about 15 minutes until the opening bell, chat, so just be careful today. Does Take Profit still have their deal going on right now? I have to go back and check here. Let me see when this ends. I thought it ended this weekend. Let me see. Sale ends August 24th. It might be at midnight tonight, so if you haven't already, check out Take Profit. 50% off. Reduce the time to pass from 5 to 3 days. Uncapped payouts once you're over the daily buffer on Take Profit. So if you have not checked out Take Profit, it's a great way to help support the channel. We appreciate it. Here's the Take Profit link right here. You can use code BGT at checkout, get the max discount. There's the link right here. Check out Take Profit. We'll pin it to the top of the chat. We did a poll earlier today, and we asked, do gold futures close the week over 4,700? Almost 70% of people say yes, it does. Do gold futures close over 4,700? I mean, we're at what right now? 47.34s. 47.35 high of the day now. I don't know, but the nano contracts suck, Julius. At least from what I'm showing right now. Like, what are the nano contracts? It's like NNQ. I mean, if this is the nano contracts that we're getting right now, they're not good. This is the nano contract volume. So, like, some of them might have nano contracts, but they're not really good here. Hey, thank you, Laura, for the donation. Let me see what the donation said. John, DJT stock is 55%. Crypto, how is it not mooning yet? I mean, crypto's starting to moon. Oh, DJT stock is 55% crypto. How is it not started to run yet? I don't know. I think, I mean, it's starting to go back up here regarding crypto. I mean, it's been moving up since Bitcoin started to rebound mid-August. So Bitcoin started to rebound a few days ago. You can see it here. I appreciate the donation. But, look at a 30-minute chart. Like, it is correlated with where Bitcoin started to rebound here, right? So it's up. I mean, it's up a big percentage too. It's just not flying up yet. I don't know. I'm not really invested in it, but I appreciate the donation. Thank you. Yeah, nano contracts do not look good, honestly, right now. Look at, you know, they're not really good. They look like single stock future contracts. Is anybody trading micro Bitcoin? In futures. All right, guys, we have 14 minutes left until the market opens today. 14 minutes. I see people asking about Brit. I wonder if it's just the same guy creating fake accounts asking over and over again. But Brit will be back this week. He's going to be back on Wednesday for sure. Friday as well. So a lot of stuff going on Wednesday and Friday this week, so he'll be back. I had a 15x long open position for Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin start to pull back down. Here's 79,000 here. I'm tempted to buy it, but it's also kind of risky. I don't really trade micro Bitcoin contracts. I'm not really used to trading them like that. So China and Jordan urged the US and Iran to maintain the ceasefire. They urged restoring normal passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Hey, thank you, Bitcoin Bill. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate the love, brother. Thank you, dude. Shout out to Bitcoin Bill. Thank you for the dono, my friend. I appreciate it. Bitcoin Bill, the GOAT. Bitcoin still... Does Bitcoin bounce at 79,000 here, though? I'll trade some micro Bitcoin today if it looks good enough. If it looks good enough. I'm going to take a break before Bessent. Hey, be safe, Sam. Good seeing you, dude. Yeah, the Bessent news is really might, you know, be the driver of markets today. It's supposed to be at 2 p.m. You ever going to play the laugh song ever again? I don't know where it is, dude. You know, like, I have this playlist. I spent years building this playlist. It's somewhere in the playlist. But for you, just for you today, I'll play it sometime today. I got you. Just remind me. All right, 12 minutes. Is Bessent going to issue sanctions against Iran today at 2 p.m.? Probably. I mean, he called it Economic D-Day, basically saying they were going to sanction. Thank you, Starfall. I appreciate the donation, my friend. Thank you, bro. He basically said economic D-Day, any country that does business with Iran or helps them is going to be isolated, essentially is what it is. I think the only way you can really interpret this is escalating, though. You know, like, in my opinion, the only way you can really interpret this is escalating, no? Is there any bull scenario for Bessent today? I don't think so. So what I'm worried about is, like, maybe markets are going to drop leading into the opening bell from that type of specific rotation, unless we've already gotten it. I mean, I would assume this is escalating news. I'm assuming oil might be going higher here on this news. But, I mean, there's always a chance we do the opposite, and sometimes markets don't react in the way you think they are, and sometimes it's also buy the rumor, sell the news. There's a possibility of that in which prior to this, maybe after the bell, oil rises, and then once the news happens, oil falls. I don't know. But is there any way the news today could be de-escalating? I don't think so. Doesn't sound like it. You know, we had news earlier regarding some source that what did they say earlier? It was very small news, but like, and it's something that we already knew, but markets still reacted negatively to it. What did they say? They said Treasury Secretary Bessent. Oh no, we saw the Treasury General announcement already. It says U.S. Treasury is going to make any activity in certain Iran sectors subject to secondary sanctions. Will broaden the scope of secondary sanctions on countries, entities doing business with Iran. But the question is, have markets already digested this, and maybe we're already baked into it? I don't know. I think it's going to be escalating news. But the question is, are markets already priced in for that? And they could be. I mean, NASDAQ is down, but oil is also down on the day, which doesn't show that baked into dynamic as much as you might think. So what a chop fest before New York Open. I mean, we've had a lot of news. Bitcoin is not choppy. Oil is a little choppy. Gold is not choppy, though. The Treasury gold's been breaking highs most of the morning. So gold and Bitcoin have been moving. NASDAQ is still down mostly on chips, though. But even the NASDAQ's very flat here. I can't really trade this. We got 3 minutes until the market on open data, though. So we'll see how that moves stuff. Nvidia earnings more important? Yeah, I think so, for sure. I mean, Nvidia earnings are going to be more important. And Burry has been comparing Nvidia to Cisco. So we'll see what the opening bell brings us here. We'll put the NASDAQ up. We got 3 minutes until the market on open data. NASDAQ very, very flat, though, ahead of the opening bell. Maybe we're going to get volatility unlocked. I don't know. The thong song? My childhood, bro. Don't remind me of my childhood. You know. Chop if you're down, ranging if you're up. That's definitely right. But here's the NQ. It hasn't done anything. We wiggled a bunch this morning from the news that we got. Since then, though, NASDAQ is very, very, very flat. And there's also an argument for this week being kind of a range-bound week just based off of all the catalysts we have weighted towards the end of this week. Nvidia earnings, GDP, PCE, Kevin Warsh, BLS revision, Bessent today. And so I guess there's another argument for just choppiness leading into all this stuff. Unless we start to see some movement and rotation into, you know, things ahead of Bessent today. All right, guys, 2 minutes. Hey, thank you, VV, for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Thank you. Shout out to you for becoming a member. Thanks so much. We appreciate the love. Thank you. I guess some people don't like me asking this, but are we bull or bear for the opening bell, guys? What do you guys think? NASDAQ's starting to go down a little bit here, but maybe the market on the open data will move us in about a minute. But are y'all bullish or bearish? Yeah, Bitcoin Bill, the GOAT. Bear, bear, bear. Bear if the news is coming this week. both, but down after. Bull. Jacob, I can respect the counter. Bipolar, Buffalo, bearish stock, bullish on crypto. Bear first, then bull, bear. Mostly bears today. Make a poll. Bull? I could respect the other side of this. Mostly bears. You're a bull in a sea of bears, Christoph. We're in a recession. No, we're not, bro. We are not in a recession, dude. What makes you think we're in a recession? Let's talk about it. All right, guys. Market on open data in 30 seconds, so. Flat overall. Bear, bull, mega bullish. Crypto's bullish for sure today. So is gold. I'm bullish. Scare tactics and pre-market and boom candles at the open. Mostly bears going bullish. Hey, might not be a bad move, Falcos. The question though is just, what does the rotation look like ahead of Bessent? I think is the real question. Our market's already pricing in escalating things from Bessent today. I don't know how you could argue de-escalating. All right, so there's the market on open. Let's see if we move at all. There's the market on open data. Bull, because the obvious is bear. Yeah, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad way to look at it. You think market's going to do one thing, a lot of the time they do the other. Bitcoin's still right at 79K as well. Only reason the US isn't in a recession is data centers. Yeah, I mean, either way though, GDP's not anywhere near negative, not yet. And you need 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters to be in recession. And we're just not there. Softer job market, rising corporate bankruptcies, and shifting bond yields. I mean, look, those things point to economic weakness, but it's not a recession. Recession is very, very specific definition. It's 2 consecutive negative GDP quarters back to back. I guess I said consecutive, but yeah. We're just not there yet. What are we at? 1.5% GDP last quarter. So we don't even have 1 negative GDP quarter, not let alone 2. Nvidia is starting to rise up, though. Here's Nvidia. Memory names have been weak today, too, though, guys. They're still down. SanDisk has been one of the weaker ones. It's under $1,500 a share. All right, here we go, guys. Three minutes until the opening bell. Let's see what we get today. Recent economic data indicates a loss of momentum, growth projections. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely seeing weakness recently. So I guess you could argue we're heading towards a recession, but we're just not there yet. We're just not there. Hey, what's up, Drop? How you doing, dude? We're teetering on the edge, but not actually in it yet. Well, we don't have 1 negative quarter, let alone 2. I can't believe Bessent wants to say anything to crash the market. Yeah, for sure, G. Last technical recession was after 2020. It was technically a recession. They didn't call it one, but it was technically one. We had 2 negative GDP quarters. It was kind of a mini one, though. We didn't last very long, but it was technically one. All right, guys, we got 2.5 minutes. All right, look at SanDisk. Just crack lows again. Bull or bear? Mostly bears that I'm seeing right now. Maybe it's time to go long, but mostly bears. I think you could argue the bear side pretty easily, though. Like I said, with Bessent speaking today, escalating things, I think it's the highest percentage. But again, you could also say it's buy the rumor, sell the news, and we've already gotten baked into that dynamic, and so maybe we rally after this news. I don't know. NASDAQ pushing up a little bit ahead of the open, though. Look at the NQ. Not really a lot. I mean, we're in this range. It's not really good range to trade, but we're starting to push up a little bit ahead of it. Bitcoin's getting close to 80,000, though. Gold is up there to 47 something. I'll try to stream Bessent today, yes. So y'all hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We appreciate it. Sub if you haven't yet. All right, here we go. Less than a minute. Less than 1 minute for the opening bell. Let's see what we get today. Again, let me know your predictions here. Full port at the open. Yeah, I mean, GDP has a very specific definition. It's got a, and a recession has a very specific definition. I'll try to stream Bessent today. SanDisk. NASDAQ below the 50 and 100 moving average. Bullish for assets, gold, silver, Bitcoin, and properties. All right, we're at 29,229s right now. Here we go. Opening bells in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here's the open. There's the opening bell. Let's see what we get. Red open so far, but it's just the start of it. Let's see if we can break out of this range. NASDAQ starting to fall down a little bit. We're in a pretty tight range ahead of this, though. But there's the opening bell. NASDAQ's pulling down some at the open. Maybe we'll get a volatile open today. And there's more drops coming at the open. 29,150s now on the NASDAQ here. Nvidia's fallen all the way down to 214s. Just tapped 214s. Looks a little red so far. Gold's still kind of pushing up towards highs of the day, though. Gold just broke highs of the day, actually. 47.36 for gold. Bitcoin's under 79,000. It's too early to make predictions, but definitely a red open so far. We're at 150s right now in the NQ. 140s now. 130s now. So definitely a weaker open if we zoom out here. 130s. The low of the day is 29,116 on the NASDAQ. We're getting very close to that. We just broke that. We're at 29,109s now on the NASDAQ. Just crack lows of the day. So we are weak right now. A little sketchy. Y'all be careful. But some red at the opening bell. We just tapped lows, though. Rebounding some after hitting this low, though. I can't really trade this yet. It's definitely looking weaker. Nvidia's starting to turn is what this is. If we look at memory plays, like MU's broken down to 920s right now. 919s, actually, right now. So MU memory names falling at the opening bell. But it's still early. It's still early. We're about 2 minutes into the day, into the open. We broke lows of the day, and now we're starting to bounce back a little bit. But SanDisk down to 1450s. MU down to 917s here. So memory's still pulling back here right now so far. DRAM and memory. Yeah, we definitely have some red at the open now. SanDisk is bleeding. Oil's also back up to $86 a barrel here at the opening bell. Nvidia down to 213s now. Look at Nvidia. So it's one of the reasons market's falling here. Let's see if the NASDAQ holds. Watch memory plays, though. Here's MU. Watch SanDisk. If they keep breaking down, NASDAQ will probably follow. But it looks weak for sure. Looks bearish for sure. We're about 3 minutes into the day. Still falling. Just crack lows again. 105s, 103s on the NASDAQ. So now I think a level staring at us is 29K. 29K is right here. And this could be rotation getting ahead for Bessent's speech later. Again, I don't think it's going to be bullish regarding his speech. So NASDAQ continues to crack lows here. This could be some rotation into that as markets brace for Bessent later on today. I'm long now. 29,210. Hey, good luck, Rumo. Walmart's bouncing back. NASDAQ just cracked lows again. 29,083s in the NQ today. We're still falling. Nvidia's down to 213s. We're right at the lows of the day for Nvidia. I'm really tempted to short, but it's still kind of early for me to trade. We're down on the day for sure now, but we're not down a lot. I'm tempted to short. It looks weak, but not a lot of meat on the move here. We'd have to continue breaking down, and that's never a given. So I'm going to wait. But we have seen red chips driving this, memory and Nvidia. Nvidia or MU down to 914s, hit 910s almost. SanDisk also breaking down at 14.5s. Here's a little bounce. I think we got to look at like 150s here. I think 150s makes a lot of sense to pay attention to. We got to bounce up to there. Maybe I'll short, maybe. But we might just keep falling if Nvidia continues down. Nvidia down to 913s. At 212, 83 low of the day here is getting close in pre-market. So this level right here on Nvidia. SanDisk still breaking down at 14.5s. Yeah, Spacex flying up to 130s, green on the day technically, and all this weakness in chips. Long or short here, guys, I don't know. I gotta wait. Maybe I'll short 150s if we get up there. We'd have to get up to 150s, and it'd have to be small for me to start. It's too early after the bell. Maybe 150s. We're at 120s. There's 140s. I might not catch 150. Let's see. I might not catch it. It might drop. I think a lot of shorts might be piling on here too. Yeah, I figured it. We'll give it a second though. Yeah. I wanted 150. We got 145. Not quite the level I wanted here, and there's the drop. Yeah, it's alright. Idea would have worked, but just tad entry miss. I gotta stick with my entry. Nvidia's at the low of the day now as well. Just tap lows of the day now, under 212.75s as we speak. Yeah, chips are down. That's what's driving a lot of this. Here's a little rebound here. I don't know if I like 150s anymore, though. I don't know. Actually, SanDisk is still pushing down here. I might actually jump in another short around this level here. At 140s. Alright, we got a small little trade here. We'll add to it. I'm looking for a little pop higher, though, so I can add a little bit more into this now, though, but I might not get it. I needed 150s, or 140s is what we took, but I don't really trust this very much. No, I mean, there's some drops here. It's small. We'll add back on a bounce. I gotta build up a cushion before I take larger risk, and I just don't know if we're gonna get 150s here. We can add to this, maybe, I guess, but there we go. Alright, we're gonna get out. Very small. We made about $100, but it's very small. We gotta build up a cushion first. Nvidia is still testing that low of the day, though, but SanDisk and memory names are still flushing. MU down to 910s. So memory names are breaking. But yeah, there's the breakdown here in Nvidia. 212.60s. Look, there's the NASDAQ just crack lows again. So we wanted 150s. This is why we're targeting this level. I mean, we had a really isolated spot right here at 150s. It's also a whole dollar number. But man, NASDAQ's still down here. Market's probably rotating into what Bessent might say later, is what I'm thinking. But this is also memory related too. NASDAQ down to 29.73s. Watch 29,000 here as well. 29,000 is not that far away from us here. So 29K on the NASDAQ is very close. The bears are definitely in control today on memory and chip breakdowns. Nvidia down to 212.50s, under 212.50, 212.40s just hit. Still breaking down here, still falling right now. Question is, look at SpaceX there. SpaceX is at 138s. AMU breaking down, Nvidia breaking down. SpaceX just broke highs of the day, 138s. So we got a little bit of bear momentum here today. Still kind of waiting though. Yeah, so Trump on January 1st said tariffs on all cars, trucks, both large and small, automotive parts and steel would be increased to 50%. So he says U.S. tariffs starting in January of next year, Canadian cars, trucks, auto parts, and steel. Built in the U.S. and there are zero tariffs, he says. Look at Nvidia fall. Look at MU fall. Bears are still very much in control right now. Nasdaq still breaking here. Look at that 29.5 level we drew here, dude. We drew this level earlier on this chart. Look, 29,500. This is what you got to watch these half dollar, whole dollar numbers. 50, 75, 25. Whole dollar's like obviously like 29,000, much more relevant, but you can get little pivot points at these 50, 75, 100 levels. Where's gold? Yeah, gold's dipping down a little bit. Where's Bitcoin at? Bitcoin broke 79K earlier. It's back down to 78s. So Bitcoin's starting to pull all the way back here. S&P's looking about like the same as the Nasdaq. I mean, it's not down as much, but it's less tech heavy, and tech is what's breaking down today. So here's the ES. Again, it's down too from the opening bell, but again, what's breaking down is MU, SanDisk, you know, SK Hynix. Memory, Nvidia also down to 211s. That's driving this as well. Nvidia down to 211.20, still breaking down. So still showing weakness here in some of these chip related sectors. Still falling, 29.60s. Still testing the lows here. Again, I gotta wait. There's not enough meat on the move on the downside right now. But I think markets are just bracing for Bessent today. I think that makes sense. Nasdaq just cracked lows again. 29,040s here. 29K obvious level to watch. And we're getting very close. Nvidia down to 210s, breaking down now. Alright, there's 25s on the Nasdaq. Still weak. S&P new lows. Yeah, I mean, chips are breaking down. Still falling. 29Ks right here. I'm tempted to buy it at 29K, but I feel like I don't want to catch a falling knife here. And I'd rather just trade with the momentum. But this is chip related, guys. This is Nvidia, MU, SanDisk, and more breaking down. I mean, this is just chip fears. All right, Nvidia hitting 210s. Let's see if Nvidia bounces at 210s. Nasdaq just cracked lows again, 29.24s. Nvidia just broke under 210s. Yep, there's another breakdown here. So red open so far today for sure here, guys. Definitely a little scary. We just broke under 29,000 on the Nasdaq. Hit 990s, 28 990s. I think a lot of this is driven by chips and Nvidia though. Nvidia at 210s right now. Still falling here. It's a bad way to start the week. It's definitely not good. I mean, again, though, I think it makes sense when you think about the story of Bessent later today. And I don't know how there's a way in which it could be de-escalating. And so, what's oil doing, I guess, with that in mind? Oil's not down that much. It's down a little bit. But, yeah, I didn't buy 29,000. I don't want to catch a falling knife. We're at 960s here. I just don't want to, yeah, I just don't want to catch a falling knife here. $964s. I guess this is an appropriate song right now. Yeah, I should have held short for sure, but hindsight's 2020. That's all right. Bitcoin 78K. Spacex started to dip down too. Gold's all the way down to 47.20. Nasdaq just hit 950s. It's a very steep decline. I'm going to go ahead and buy a little bit right here. Small. We'll add to it if it goes up. There we go. Not a small range here today, though, guys. Just be careful. All right, we'll take a little bit off there. There we go. We'll take a little bit off there now. I'm going to get out before 29K. We just scalped it. We're green. We're actually green on the day now, too. So we made a few hundred since the open. But I'm not holding these long. If I'm going to take the opposing direction, I'm going to get out quickly here. So we got out. I'm worried 29,000 is going to hold us down, too. It made everybody pivot and then rug pulled. It's early, brother. It's early. We're back over 29K now. I assume tomorrow even more red. I don't know, bro. All right, Nasdaq still pushing higher here. I mean, the easy direction is short, right? But shorts could get squeezed out. Is the only issue. Gold actually rebounding very quickly back up. Again, Trump said Canada will be treated like a state no longer. We don't need Canada, they need us. We'll impose 50% tariffs on Canadian auto steel starting January 1st of next year. Not sustainable and not anymore. On January 1st, 2027, tariffs on all cars, trucks, both large and small, automotive parts and steel will be increased to 50%. Yeah, more tariffs is bad, I guess. All right, we're back at 29K here. I don't like this. I'm not. It could bounce at 29,000 right now, but I'm not gonna go against the direction for very long. Yeah, I mean, this was a Truth Social post. Again, if you guys missed it, he said, Canada's been ripping off the U.S. for years. Their ridiculously high tariffs on our farmers and farm products has made life impossible for these great American patriots and has long created a $60 billion deficit between the two countries. Not sustainable and not anymore. On January 1st of next year, tariffs on all cars, trucks, both large and small, automotive and steel will be increased to 50%. Built in the U.S. and there are zero tariffs. Canada will be treated like a state no longer. And he said some more stuff. But let's see if chips start to rebound back up here. 29,000 did prop us up a little bit. Memory names are really what's breaking down here, though. MU down to 900. SanDisk down to 14s. Nvidia down to 210. So it's not memory, but it's chips in Nvidia. Spacex also starting to fall. I'm watching 29K though. I don't like long. Obviously, there's too much downward momentum here. But let's see if 29,000 holds us up. Yeah, what a Monday. Here's gold. Yeah, gold at 47.30s right now. So gold's getting back close to the highs. NASDAQ did just crack 29,000 again. Still looking weak. Pushing towards lows of the day again. Close enough to lows where I don't want to go long now. We're getting really close to lows. 950 propped us up. Let's see if we get under 950s now. Yeah, Bitcoin also back down under 79,000. Hit under 78,000 a couple minutes ago. Just joined? What's the news? Bro, we got a lot of it. 50% tariffs on Canadian vehicles. Just announced on Truth Social. The Treasury might use the Treasury General account, which has $935 billion in it. Almost $1 trillion. To fund some of these yield buybacks. We've got Bessent speaking today at, I believe, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so we'll see what he's got to say regarding Iran and some of this buyback. Maybe a buyback update in regards to the Treasury here. But he's supposed to announce what he calls economic D-Day against Iran regarding sanctions. And I think that's probably... I mean, chips are reason we're down in the NASDAQ here. But I think maybe some rotation into things fearful. Burry thinks Nvidia's going to kill it for earnings. He thinks they're going to do great regarding Nvidia, but he thinks it's bad because it thinks it's too much circular financing, too much money. And yeah, that's basically where we're at in markets today. NASDAQ, S&P down big since the opening bell. Chips down big. Nvidia just cracked lows of the day here. I'm tempted to short this just based off of Nvidia's recent movement, but there's just not a lot of room here to short. Momentum's definitely on my side for a short, but... What's up, Steve? I go into hands-off mode until tomorrow. It might not be a bad move. I mean, tomorrow... I mean, I think 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today is going to be interesting. I think that's where attention is going to be, you know, obviously on what Bessent says today at 2 p.m. And I think that's where a lot of attention is focused. SPY is down. It's just not down as much. A lot of these moves are, again, S&P, NASDAQ are a little different. NASDAQ has more tech weighted in it, more tech stocks. So with memory and Nvidia specifically breaking down, Nvidia just cracked lows of the day again. It's driving the NASDAQ steeper down than the S&P. I mean, the SPY is not looking good either here, but it's not as down as much as the NASDAQ is. NASDAQ's right at the lows of the day again. Again, this is partly because Nvidia's down at 209 right now. Hit 209.03 just a second ago. Continues to fall. Memory cracking lows. MU just broke under 900s here, so the bearishness continues. There's the low of the day at 950. Hey, good luck, Matt. Have a good day, bro. Good luck there. Again, MU's fallen under 900s. SanDisk is down. Nvidia's down under 210s. Again, are y'all bullish or bearish here? Y'all think we continue down today? Maybe we do. Here's the NASDAQ bouncing a little bit after breaking lows. Again, if you want to help support the channel, you can check out Apex. They have 90% off steel. I believe it ends soon. Take Profits 50% off also ends tonight, I believe. But if you want to check out Apex and help support the channel, here's the Apex link. You can get a $15 account on Apex if you buy a 5-pack bundle of their cheapest accounts. $75 gets you 5 evals, 25k evals. So if you want to check them out, again, great way to help support the channel. There's the link right there. Again, code BGT will get you the max discount. We could also do a giveaway today. I'll do a giveaway. We'll do a Lucid Flex. Again, exclamation point BGT. We'll enter the giveaway. You only got to enter it once, though, but again, we'll give away a Lucid Flex. Lucid has some of the best rules once you're actually funded in Lucid Flex. It's my favorite account to get funded in out of all prop firms. So you can check out the Lucid link if you want, you know, get one of those with BGT for the max discount. All right, now we got a little sideways action here. 29,000 might be the level. It's right here. So it could prop us up. Again, if you want to enter the giveaway, exclamation point BGT in the chat. We'll enter you in here automatically. I'm bullish on Bessent today. I don't think he'll be de-escalatory, but we'll add clarity. I don't know if I'm bullish on it. I think markets are pricing in bearishness ahead of it. You know, I think you got to watch oil and inflation and all that based off of it. Should I buy oil ahead of this event? I mean, I think that's the easy trade, though, and sometimes the easy trade does not work out. Hey, shout out to the sub. I didn't see who you were, but shout out to you. Appreciate the love. All right, we're right at 29,000 here, though. The problem, like, if Nvidia holds resistance at 210, we might come right back down here. So maybe if Nvidia gets over 210, it holds, and we might start looking more optimistic. But so far, we're kind of sideways in range after breaking down a lot this morning. Bessent speaks at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe it's 2 p.m. Some people say it's 1. All right, Nvidia did reject around 210s. Yeah, so Schiff warns Bessent's buyback plan risks inflation. Peter Schiff warns that using the TGA account to fund bond buybacks could shorten the average maturity of debt, increasing exposure. He argues this would make the Fed rate hikes more costly by driving up federal interest expenses and deficits. There's not much of a delay. I'm still looking at MU. I'm going to trade here. I don't know if I trust anything here yet. I'm watching 2950 right here. Maybe 2950 can act as a level. Look, here's 2950. It was a previous level before, so maybe we get back up there all short. A lot of it's going to depend on what chips do. Nvidia, MU, and memory names. I want to see what 29K does to it right here, though. It still looks really bearish here, though, to be honest. It's hard to... We might not get 29.5 short. There's back to 29K. Alright, so we're starting to head back up. There's a little bit of a pop here. We're almost at 9 a.m. though. I might take a little trade here. If we get up to 29.05. One long contract in oil won't hurt. I mean, it could definitely hurt. Nvidia is still holding down under 210s. See what it does here. It might influence the NASDAQ. Again, exclamation point BGT if you want to try to win a Lucid Flex account. You only got to enter it once. So far we have... Did I just screw it up, dude? I think I might have just screwed it up here, guys. I'm sorry. It won't let me go back forward again. Alright, yeah, now we got to do it again. I'm sorry. Exclamation point BGT. If you haven't entered it, you got to enter it again. My bad. We got Best Super. We got Thor in there. My bad. Lesson learned. You only got to enter it once. So we have Best Super, Thor, Richard, KT, Min, Jordan, Paul, Vib, Casey, Checkerboard, Wash, Hidden Candle, Fred, GK, Wolf, Market Maker Mark, Pawn, Smell the Seat, LV, Laws, Carr, Fantastic Unlock, Cho, Jonathan, Nathan, Day Hustle, Stefan, Jacob, Killing Frenzy, Bam Bam. Yeah, now we're just kind of consolidating here. I don't know what to do. I'm just going to hang out here. 29,000 could prop us up. I might short 29.05 here, up here, if we can get it. But again, with how weak Nvidia looks right now, I don't know if we're going to get that. MU just broke lows again. Got down to 893s here. So MU starting to fall. 892s now for MU. SanDisk also falling. We're at 1420. Bouncing a little bit at 29 though. We're in a range here on the NASDAQ. I'm worried we're going to just range sideways though for a little while today until Bessent later. I think Bessent's kind of the main event today, guys, where the economic isolation plan is supposed to be detailed at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at a press conference. He might also say some stuff about bonds. And so we'll see if we get 29.5s here. I might take a short. Yeah, I mean, I saw Bitcoin get up to there earlier. Bitcoin's almost back up to 79K, though. But again, if chips continue breaking down, that's what's driving the NASDAQ down right now. Nvidia's broken down. MU's breaking down. SanDisk is breaking down. Very, very sideways now. I got hurt last week. I'm staying out of this, yeah. I mean, I'm honestly kind of tempted to buy oil right now. But I think it's such an obvious trade head of Bessent that we'll see. I'm very tempted to buy oil. Buy or sell oil right now. What do you guys think? I'm tempted to buy it just because, I mean, basic logic is like, okay, Bessent is going to be escalating. If he's escalating, oil might go up. But it's almost too easy of logic. Maybe I'm talking myself out of a good trade here. There's the NASDAQ just cracked 29,000 again. Bessent's 2 p.m. Chips aren't really down on the Bessent news. Chips are just down in general right now after the Kospi dropped overnight. Buy oil, sell NASDAQ longs. Nothing he would say could be bearish. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, I don't know what he could say that would make oil go down. You know, unless he surprise announces a deal or something. I don't know how oil could go down on this. But again, you got to understand though, markets price things in early, so they already know Bessent's speaking. They already know, it's probably going to be escalating, and so you got to think kind of 2 steps ahead in markets. And MU still breaking down here again. It's driving the NASDAQ down. I wanted 29.5s. We didn't quite get it. Nvidia's about to break lows of the day. We're at 209s here, so. NASDAQ about to hit lows. MU still breaking down here. it dropped down because I think there's a possibility of escalation. Is it as escalatory as everyone thinks? Yeah, I mean, we'll see, dude. I don't know. That's why I'm a little hesitant to buy oil now, but I think there also could be a trade here. Yeah, they want traders to take a position based on hint, and then, yeah. That's what I'm worried about. MU down in 890s, 888s. We're now past 10 a.m. And again, we are giving away a Lucid Flex account here today, guys. So if you haven't already, check out Lucid. You can do ! BGT if you want to try to join the giveaway. But so far, we're pretty sideways. It's still looking weak, obviously, in markets. And memory have been breaking down. MU, SanDisk. How about the buyback news? Should be bullish. We got a little bit of news earlier. Maybe, look. If Bessent, who's the Treasury Secretary, gives us an optimistic look at the buybacks, we could run up, but will oil move on that news? Maybe. Even if he says escalating things, which he's probably going to, and if he says optimistic things about buybacks, we could go up, but oil still might go up with us. Nvidia's testing the lows of the day. We're at 209s now. I can't tell if you meant buy or buy, like buy stocks. Nvidia just cracked lows of the day here, guys. Look at it. Nasdaq could follow us down now. Short feels greedy here, though, right? Like a short does feel a little greedy here, no? Hey, shout out to you, Swing. Appreciate the sub, my friend. Thank you, brother. Shorts feel a little greedy here, no? I mean, that'd basically be betting that MU and Nvidia continue to break down, which they're looking like they're heavy here, but... Yes, greedy. I think it's greedy. I mean, I could short 29K and look for a push back down to lows and basically bet that chips are going to continue to break down. Oil's actually falling, though. Maybe the trade is on oil. Maybe. Here's 29K. I trade with IG in the UK, one of the biggest platforms. They won't let me log in. I'm sorry, Hayden. I don't know anything about... I mean, my last name's London. But I do not know anything about UK brokers, dude. Good luck, bro. I hope you get it figured out. Nasdaq's still falling down here. IG, same for me. It's down. Thinking about buying oil here, though. Nasdaq's back down to lows. Alright, we just bought a little bit of oil, just a little bit. You know what? We'll take the risk. I don't know if oil's going to break lows of the day. I can probably set a stop down there, maybe. How much worse can this round of sanctions be? I mean, it could be worse. The question, though, is how much of it is priced in the markets already. NASDAQ still pushing towards the lows of the day again here. We're starting to fall. Here's the NASDAQ. Is it risk on season? My last name's London, but I don't know anything about UK brokers. It's true, bro. I'm not a London guru here. You know? I mean, I feel like I represent them, like I say, but do I know about UK brokers? No, I don't. I'm from Louisiana, bro. You know, in it. But I hear IG apparently is down, isn't it? Mate, IG is down. Gold's starting to push it up towards highs, though, here. I just don't know how I can trade this right now. Again, I bought oil down there. I think I'm green on it right now. Again, I stayed out late last night. Maybe this is the only idea I can come out with today. Now, apparently it's some UK broker that I'm just not aware of. Again, if you want to enter the giveaway, exclamation point BGT. We'll give you guys about another 10 minutes to enter the giveaway. Exclamation point BGT in chat will enter. I believe nano futures are trading, but the liquidity looks terrible. So I believe they're trading now, but I've checked the liquidity on nano futures earlier. They did not look good. NASDAQ testing lows of the day again here, though. Bearish momentum might be back. You only got to enter it once. We have in the giveaway so far, we got Jackal, Sir, Melvin, Kevin, Ed, Up and Away, Hayden, Nature, Bad, AJ, Significant, Tactical, Captain, It's Measy, Scottish, Techie, V, Steve, Poppin' Drops, Chick, First Last, Bye, Banter, whatever your name is, Adrian, Epic, XM, Ahmad, JM, Bam Bam, Killing Frenzy, Jacob, Stefan, Day Hustle, Nathan, Jonathan, Cho, Fantastic, Cart, 88, Pew, you're in there. Option flow S&P looks positive. NASDAQ right at the lows of the day now. Yeah, I went and saw 311 last night. It was like 311, Dirty Heads, and Atmosphere. Nvidia just cracked lows again. 208.80s here. 208.80s. So it looked like we were going to crack lows in the NASDAQ, though. Again, Nvidia sitting at 209s. MU breaking down here as well. Sandus breaking down. They're starting to rebound back up a little bit here, though. Again, we're kind of in a sideways range. It looks bearish, obviously, but I'm worried we're going to chop into Bessent later. They did kicking. Let's see, U.S. is going to invest $750 million in U.S. site LLC for rare earth initiatives. So I've seen an article that says Bessent can't control what's driving yields. Bessent, his bond buybacks briefly pushed long-term yields lower, but the relief faded. Bigger forces driving rates remain: record debt, persistent deficits, inflation, and AI borrowing. He can adjust treasury issuance and expand buybacks, but markets doubt these moves can suppress yields. Nasdaq starting to get back up there a little bit. Sandus rebounding. We're at almost 29K here in the Nasdaq. Here it is right here. But again, we're in a sideways range right now. It's not looking good. This range is not good. It's kind of boring. I am long in oil, but it's very small. I'll probably just set a stop loss and see if we can wait and find some better movement here. You only got to enter the exclamation point BGT once. Nasdaq just broke 29,000 though. Maybe if we get up to 50, I'll short, but I think, again, we broke down a lot and it happened so quickly I wasn't really able to capitalize on it. Now we're, even if we start bouncing back, I'm worried that we're just going to trend sideways until Bessent speaks. No, you can't have a free one. You can join the giveaway though. Exclamation point BGT can enter it. But I'm not just going to give it away for free. $29,000 might keep propping us down here. Alright, we'll put a timer up so you guys can see when the giveaway ends. I'll give you guys 10 minutes. Okay, apparently this timer sucks. Hold on. We're testing 29,000. Yeah, we'll give you guys 6 minutes here. And Nvidia just cracked lows of the day again, got down to 208.70s now. 208.70s. Nasdaq starting to fall down with it here though, but I don't know how much it's going to break down to pull the Nasdaq down more. Bessent speaks at 2 p.m. I believe it's 2 p.m. Not 100% sure, but 2 p.m. I believe is what he speaks. Yeah, my oil short. I mean, we got in really small, so it doesn't matter too much, but we're red in it now. But I'll probably set a stop loss at like the lows of the day, maybe here. Yeah, we're gonna set a stop loss at the lows. See what happens in it now. We're basically flat still, though. I'm tempted to go long here, really. I don't know if it's a good move, though. With Nvidia and MU so weak, And memory plays also. I just don't know if it's a good move right now. All right, I'm gonna go long here, maybe a little greedy. We're greedy all the day, but it's just not very big. Definitely a little risky now, but we could have a low of the day risk level set. Uh, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Why do you think Nvidia is down 7 days straight? I mean, rotation into earnings, memory, fears maybe. All right, so we got a little bit of green here. I'll take a little bit off right now. We'll give it a little bit more time. We're probably up a few hundred on the day now, but very small day. We just didn't really get a lot of... After that big breakdown at the open, which I can't really trade because it's too early. I can't really do much in this chop. There's 29,000. Take a little bit more off here. Let it test 29K, see if it keeps pushing higher. All right, we'll cut it there. Yeah, we're up hundreds on the day, which is good, but I don't know. There's not a lot of meat on these moves. We're kind of in a range now. It looked like the breakdown in memory is slowing down. That's why I wanted to go long, because Nvidia, or not just in memory, but it looks like the breakdown in chips are slowing. Nvidia bouncing back, MU bouncing back a little bit, SanDisk bouncing back a little bit. We're back over 29K again here as well. All right, how much time do we have left for the giveaway? We got 2 minutes. All right, 2 minutes, chat. The log was the right idea, though, but Nvidia 210 level makes me nervous, because if 210 rejects, we could keep going back down. Hey, yeah, pawn. Be careful, bro. Went from trading on tilt, blowing my funded account up to 200 on the day. Almost blowing. Alright guys, we got a minute and a half left. Exclamation point BGT will enter you into the giveaway. You gotta be here. We'll give you guys a minute or so to claim your prize. If you're not here, you don't get it. Alright, so Nvidia moving back up to almost 210s here. That's the level I'm looking at right now. And remember, you can use code BGT on Apex. Get $15 accounts right now on Lucid. Lucid Flex is what we're going to be giving away. Take Profit, you can use it on Take Profit as well. Great way to help support the channel. Take Profit still has their 50% off. I believe the 50% off on Take Profit ends today. So if you ever wanted a cheaper Take Profit account, you can use code BGT on Take Profit, get 50% off. Link is in the description. I think I also pinned it to the top of the chat. Can you zoom out on the NQ? You're in there, 8-8. I'm pretty sure you're in there already, brother. All right, we got 10 seconds left. Let's see who wins. We're giving away a Lucid Flex. It'll be a coupon code that gets you a free Lucid Flex 50K eval. You just gotta join the Discord to get it. I'll send it to you to Discord. Okay, the giveaway's closed. We'll give you guys 30 seconds left. Exclamation point BGT. Thor, you're already in there, dude. Thor, you're already in there, bro. Alright. 29K holding us up on the NASDAQ here. This is just not good price action. We should be back for Bessent later. Again, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is what it's supposed to be. All right, let's go ahead and do the giveaway here and see who wins. I'll give you guys 15 seconds. Exclamation point BGT. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.5, 3, 2.5. All right, let's do the giveaway. All right. Oh, let's do it. Let's see who wins this thing. All right, so the winner is Bam Bam 001. You've won the giveaway, sir. Bam Bam, I saw you on the stream earlier. You've won the giveaway. Are you still here in chat? Let's see. Bam Bam, you win. Congratulations, dude. I don't think he's here anymore. Bam Bam, you've won, dude. You've got T-minus 60 seconds to claim. I don't know. It doesn't show he's in the chat right now. So, oh yeah, he's here. Okay, what's up, Bam Bam? How you doing, dude? Bam Bam's here. Good job, dude. Looking bearish again, guys. Let's see what happens here, but we are looking bearish. Yep, he's here. We didn't get Sherberted today. That's fine. Again, join the Discord if you're not in there already, Bam Bam. Yeah, good luck on the free 50k eval. If you didn't win, you could use code BGT. Help support the channel. We appreciate you guys. We got a lot of people that hang out here for market news. So use code BGT on most major prop firms. We appreciate it. We are green day trading. We're in oil though, so oil, we're long in oil. And a long in oil ain't looking good right now. Honestly, we're only down, like, we're a very small trade, but oil's starting to flush here real quick. I got a stop set at the low of the day, though. We'll try to let it work. Kramer just tweeted South Semis. Did he really? I don't see it. All right, guys, listen. Bessent later. Not a small event. Not a small event. Reports are saying 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when Bessent's supposed to come out detailing the economic isolation plan. So that is the main event right now. Heading into the day today. Y'all be careful. Be careful today. And again, if you didn't win the giveaway, you can check out Lucid here. Lucid Flex is the single best account to get funded in my opinion. There's no consistency rule in the funded account, end of day drawdown in the funded account, which makes it, in my opinion, the best account to get funded in. Are we lagging here? Do I have too many tabs up? But yeah, the question is all about Bessent here. All right, Bam Bam, you in our Discord, brother. Did I send the Discord link? Here's the Discord link if I didn't already, bro. There's the Discord link right there. Join the Discord either way, guys. We appreciate it. Oil's not looking good, though. I'm in oil right now. It's not looking great. It looks like I'm going to get stopped out for a small loss. Still green on the day, though. Hold on. What is making oil drop like this, though? Let me see. Nasdaq's starting to rebound too here. I'm in oil, but I'm prepared to be stopped out if I need to. Small trade though. I'm gonna leave this trade alone and see what happens here. Wish me luck, guys. All right. Let me go ahead and schedule the Bessent stream. But yeah, I'm going to cut out of here, guys. Y'all be safe. All right. Be safe in this market. Yeah, so Bessent speaks live 2:30 or 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Nasdaq's over 29,000 though. Oil did bounce back before stopping me out, so we'll see if that holds. But I'm going to cut out of here, guys. Y'all be safe. Have a great day. Again, use code BGT. I'll see you guys a little bit later for Best. Again, Bessent's supposed to speak at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to schedule it for around then. We'll see what that looks like. But 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today for Bessent. But yeah, y'all get out of here. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. Be safe. Again, Bessent speaks later. It could move markets, could move oil, could move yields, could move everything. So be careful. Y'all have a great day.